Oh. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. Today, this is What Did Joe Think About the Walking Dead season premiere and Better Call Saul series finale. We'll also be talking a little bit about the Walking Dead's rating situation and maybe touching in on a couple of other stories that I haven't even prepared Joe for that I want to talk to him about to see if he's watching some shows that have replacement characters on right now and being very disappointed by it. But we're going to get into that a little bit later at the end of the show. Joe's looking at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking about Lethal Weapon. But let's continue. Oh, God, it's depressing. But let's continue here because I know you guys don't give a shit. This is my favorite show that we do on the channel because I don't need to prepare. I don't need to do anything except for play this damn song right here of... Wait, oh, this song, damn, right here.
What did Joe think? What did Joe think? What did Joe?
Where is he? What did Joe think?
Was it good or did it really fucking stink?
We're also going to be taking your comments that you left on the videos for the Better Call Saul recap and the Walking Dead recap, and we'll be asking them here. So instead of text replies with me and my sucking of the English language when I try to type it out, we'll actually be answering your questions live and in person here. So here, let me bring in... Oh no, he's all over the place. He's not quite ready yet. He's running around. I get Joe right at the beginning of his day, so we're not alone as well. Today we have the live motherfucking chat. We have Tim Gersh, Catagate, Rises. Great to see Rises. Fandom D Saint, who was no way you're starting close to 12. We started almost right on 12. The live motherfucking chat. Great to see Daniel T in the live chat. Great to hear Big J. Got a voicemail or got a text message from Big J earlier, who will be joining us checking this out. He doesn't want to hear anything about The Walking Dead, but he does want to share his thoughts a little bit more on the Better Call Saul finale. But without any further ado, last but not least, for Better Call Saul this season, let's get into a little bit of...
What did Joe think? What did Joe think? What did Joe think? Was it good or did it really fucking stink?
Okay, so which one do you... This is what I don't know what we should do, Joe. I haven't been prepared. I didn't prepare for this exactly the right way in the sense of telling you or talking to you about which one we should talk about first.
That's okay.
I'm assuming here, and I know it makes an ass out of you and me, that you generally liked the Better Call Saul finale, maybe even loved it. I'm assuming that. And I'm also assuming that you generally maybe dislike to meh about The Walking Dead. So which
Well, you already got my voicemail.
I did get your voicemail, but you were very positive in that voicemail. Your voicemails are obviously usually more happy than you really are because, you know, you
I don't have time to really get in. Like if I took actual notes so I could leave a voicemail, and when I looked at them, I was like, I can't do that.
Exactly. You can't just get into it. You know, you're trying to get your mind right for work. You don't want to lose your temper too much. But which one would you rather talk about first? We can bounce back and forth a little bit.
No, your call.
My call. Okay,
You're the producer, dude.
Okay, let's get The Walking Dead out of the way first. Okay, so we started off The Walking Dead season. Just to give you a little bit of a reminder, Joe, I know you don't really watch the CW superhero shows, but we got a very Flash-like start to the season. And this is the first words we heard. Because every episode of The Flash or Arrow starts out, "My name is Oliver Queen. My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the Flash. 10 years ago, I got these powers, and since I've gotten these powers, the world is right." It starts off with these like cheesy monologues. And let's listen, similarly, how The Walking Dead starts their season.
To live in peace. Negan and the Saviors try to take that away from us. Alexandria, the Hilltop, the Kingdom, and Oceanside came together to fight for a better future.
No shit. Hello. You just recapped last season for us in an opener. Well, I thought that was kind of fucking weird.
It was a
like,
very...
Nobody at this point is watching season... What is it? 8, 9? 9?
9.
And nobody is watching season 9 who hasn't watched anything before. Who didn't watch season 8. Like, nobody's tuning in now after the great Negan,
Joe, it's funny that you mentioned ratings. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but you mentioned it, so it's relevant to what you're going to talk about and sharing your thoughts in this episode. To be included into your perspective right now, I also have to add to the fact that The Walking Dead, Broke Blackman 94 sent me this article, and there's a couple different articles about this. But Broke sent me this, and a couple other people sent me this information. It's all over the place. It's still 6 million.
Number one.
It's still 6 million people, the number one show viewed on AMC, which is sad considering Better Call Saul's on the same channel. But
Time slots
in repetition. But The Walking Dead Season 9 has the lowest ratings ever for a premiere. It dropped down from 11 million last season at this time to 6.1 million people watched, which is still a lot of people, don't get me wrong, but it is pales in comparison. It is.
And how many of those people do you think hadn't watched the previous season?
I think most.
None.
None. Zero.
Maybe one or two people sitting with like a group of people. Nobody tuned in, sat on their couch alone without someone there to explain last season to them and said, I'm going to watch the season premiere of The Walking Dead, season 9, not having seen anything but since season 1 or 2.
So do you think that little intro section, this shit was used to try to make last season and the season before seem more interesting than it was?
The hilltop, the kingdom, and oceanside came together to fight for a better future.
Joe, I need to fight for a better future.
Yeah, fight for this, dude. Like, yeah. So this is like immediate. This is the immediate aftermath. Still, how long has gone by? Do we know?
About
at this point?
I think they say a couple times during the episode. I don't have the full recap in front.
Like
recap.
a week, 2?
No. I
3
think it's supposed to be almost a year because Maggie's kid's been born. She's gone through pregnancy, had the kid.
Right, a year. Okay,
About
a year. We'll say.
Let's say a year.
So Daryl's been leading the Negan crew for a year, or for however long he's been doing it, right? But these fuckers, like in that opening sequence, these fuckers are like, oh, let's use a fucking walker as a scarecrow. What could go wrong? Like, certainly its limbs will never rot off and it will just stumble through in the middle of the night and start eating us.
Okay, before we get
Like,
into
what the fuck?
Joe,
It's been a year, right? Like,
it's been a fucking year.
What the fuck?
What the flying fuck? And I just want to get some kind of bold thoughts out of this because I do want to make it clear. I still think this Walking Dead episode, you can bash the fuck out of it, and we're going to bash the fuck out of it over the next little bit with Joe here. And we're going to break it down a little bit, get Joe's thoughts on it, and he's like, I've already said my thoughts. I don't want to share any more about it. But ultimately...
Oh, no, I got plenty of thoughts.
Cool.
We can break this out. We could do a whole fucking scene by scene, and I will tell you exactly what is wrong with every scene.
Awesome. We're gonna play.
I swear to God, like,
we're gonna play
like as much as like some of this stuff I've railed that they don't show for so long. Like I like these sequences where they show shit getting done and it's mundane shit. I enjoy that. I like to see them working at it. That stuff's good. But like, there's things that they do with this that are just ridiculous. Like,
stupid.
This is a year after the merger. This is a year after the war. Everything we've learned about fucking walkers, and you still want to tie one up in your fucking cornfield.
Now, the question, though, that I just want to put out there, just because I really do believe this, Joe, I think as easily as we can pick apart this episode, as much as there's shit in it and a big pile of crap to talk about, and we're going to talk about it, I still think one episode in, this single episode is better than the last 2 seasons. I think it's not great, but I think it seems a little bit better to me because...
So okay, let's break it down. In all of the last seasons, right, you have the main character almost get bit, or a main character almost get with that. Check that box off, right? Check that fucking box off. Okay, because Ezekiel fell through the fucking window, right? Okay, how about the fucking, oh, we just fucking murdered zombies our whole way, put down fucking walkers our whole way to Washington, D.C. calmly and everything, all the way there to the Smithsonian, spread out in the Smithsonian where there may or may not have been walkers, took care of whatever was in there, no problem, any surprises. Okay, yeah, okay, that was all good. But like, we get stuck in a little bit of mud, 6, 9 walkers show up. That's one each, dude. That's one each. That's one each of walkers stuck in the mud, slowly slipping their way out of the fucking mud that you can't keep track into your side while they're on the ground, and you just murder them. Like, I don't understand this. I got to run back and save the horse. Why didn't we all save the horse? Why didn't you? We already cut it free if we were going to freak out and fucking panic.
Oh, you forgot about our stranger. Well, I don't even remember what that kid's name was, and we're supposed to care all about him dying. And
Well, I think he talked Carl into wanting to be a blacksmith, didn't he?
No, I think that was the doctor, wasn't it? I don't think we've met this kid before. Let's go into the live chat for
it's in the book that maybe then
it's in the book.
Another kid blacksmith that talked to Carl.
Yeah, you know more about the book stuff than I do. And where we go? Rick ain't gonna die. He's gonna go to the island and learn archery from Stephen Amell for the Arrow. We got Lady Arrow who's in the live chat. Says, "Morning, Joe. You're looking great." Morning, Phil. Wendy's. I wonder if Doctor Who had more views than The Walking Dead last night. The other night. Do people still watch shows live when they can stream it with no commercials? Live watchers are line and land phone producers. The only reason I watch stuff live right now is to do this show. Well, those couch dudes aren't included in Joe's ranting. Hope they should end the series with Rick's death. And hey, Bernie, great to see you. That would be the deepest impact and give closure. They should. I mean, at this point, the series ends for me with Rick because I have no interest in these new actors that they're showing or that are going to be our new characters. And there was definite obvious points in this episode where this is going to be a new focus character.
Yeah, we got the guy in Negan's crew there that was on Black Flag.
Or the sexy singer Negan guy. We have the girl that Daryl was talking to, I think, is going to be another main character. I have the vibe that she's somewhat. They're either main characters or they're soon to be dead people.
She was one of Negan's girls. The one that was what are we going to do now? Like that was at the warehouse.
Yeah,
that had a couple of lines. Yeah, she's been around for all last season. She was one of Negan's lieutenants, I believe, or close to it.
And
or eager soldiers just wanted to like. She's a want to fit in her. Like, she doesn't care about the Negan shit necessarily. She doesn't care about the Rick shit. She wants to fit in. She wants to do. She wants to be productive for whatever society she's going to fit into.
Now, Bernie says, I like to watch some shows for live. Yeah, and I watch some stuff live, too. Sometimes I want to see it as immediate as possible. For the most part, I would stream everything if it was easily streamable. But I do steal and stream DVR. I steal the shit out of some shows. On links and stuff. I definitely watch. I watch most of a show like Shameless, for instance. I don't do
any of that, dude. I wait for the TV, and if I miss it accidentally because I have to work or
you don't. I've tried to explain to you how to steal things before, and you're like,
I've done it. I had here's my thing with that. It's not the hundreds of hours of entertainment I might get from it. I'll get anyway. And it might cost me a little money, but I don't have to buy a new computer every 4 years.
Fair for all the spyware that gets added and shit.
Right, like for the shit that does get through that, or I don't have to spend a day on the phone with fucking tech somewhere, or trying to like reboot and refactory start and reload any fucking programs and shit like you know what? I'm at the point where it's not worth it.
Yeah, or see some of the worst pop-ups ever in existence that you click
on. And I know
there's
a lot of very trustworthy sites out there, but
sure.
What the fuck?
Cynical Lindsay. Great to see Cynical Lindsay in the live chat. She says, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Bernie, I'm with you. What's good to see Rises in there as well. I think Joe might appreciate season 9, episode 1 review I'm working on your channel. Make sure you check that out on Cynical Lindsay's channel. I bet Joe will love to check that out. We'll all watch that at some point. Catagate says, I'm glad you two don't shill.
What makes you think I would like? Is it a cynical review?
Yeah, probably with a name like Cynical Lindsay. I assume. Anyways, I'm glad.
Is it on my sleeve like that? Is it like?
Do we seem cynical? Now, Catagate says, I'm glad you two don't shill for The Walking Dead. I really do. There's some Walking Dead channels that on YouTube where they shill hard for their show, and I was saying that last on the. A lot of people were saying, and I want to add this to your another log to your fire here, Joe. A lot of people, and I'm not saying anyone, I'm not even talking about anyone specific. I mentioned this in the main review. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is a return to form of The Walking Dead. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is slightly better than the last 2 seasons.
No.
Why, you ask me? I feel like the pacing was better. There was a few less scenes of just oh God, I'm listening to two characters talk about nonsense. It still had those moments. I think killing Gregory at the end of the episode was good, but it was 3 seasons too late. But it was still a good thing. And forced to get there, we needed to go through Brett Butler and her family making some stupid thing and having to care about these people that we don't even know.
Walker death, like it led back to that stupid Walker death in the mud. That's what I'm talking about.
It did.
Pritchard, I gotta say, this goes to it all. You say this episode was not as bad as I anticipated as a setup episode. It did its job. Okay, I'll give you that. The number of people doing stupid shit for plot purposes was limited to a few versus last year's everybody. See, that sentence says it all. This was one episode. A few people did stupid shit, right? Versus last year's. You're comparing this episode to all of last year's. Yes, in all of last year's, everybody did stupid shit. Everybody didn't do stupid shit in every episode. It had a few people do a few stupid things in every episode, thus hitting everybody on the shit meter. Now, this episode, we've gone off to a big fucking bang. Maggie, not only does she fucking get attacked right in the middle of the night,
Maggie acts like, will you at least admit Maggie acts like Maggie again to a certain extent?
Well, no, I won't, because she doesn't say anything to anybody about who it was or why. She doesn't bring anybody with them to wait outside and just listen to the conversation. And for him, like, he attacks her with a fucking knife. Like, yes, okay, great. She can handle herself. We know this. She's a strong, capable person. But no, like, that's being stupid. That's being stupid. Like, this is a person capable of anything, right? Who has been drinking all night as well. Like, get people to stand outside and listen and come in and fucking subdue him when he pulls out his fucking knife. Like, this is not smart. This is stupid shit. It's more stupid shit. The kid dying was stupid shit. The fake intensity behind like, did anybody think the glass was not going to break? Everybody knew it was going to break. It was when and who was going to fall through, and are they going to get bit? I say, break the mold. No, the glass doesn't break. All that tension for nothing. Go fuck yourself, audience. You thought it was going to break because TV dictates in your stupid fucking TV trope world that you're still working in that glass needs to break. Someone needs to almost die. Oh, look, it was a catalyst to show that Ezekiel and Carol are in love. Come on now.
It sucked because I feel like in that situation was almost similar to the Glenn situation a few seasons ago, but even worse or maybe the Glenn situation was worse because I feel if you wanted to somehow include some emotional, like losing a character. It wasn't Ken, the little kid that we have no clue who he is, or some people from the comics know who he is. It could be Ezekiel, because I agree with you 100%. You're almost echoing things I said the other night with the glass breaking, and we all knew that the glass was going to break. So if you're going to break the glass and you're going to do the trope where a character almost dies, don't make it Ray from Ghostbusters 2 with the dude hanging out into the ooze. Actually kill Ezekiel in that moment. Have some balls. Kill him.
Have the balls. Have the balls to do it.
If they had killed Ezekiel, that whole intro had
Nobody would have fucking known.
Had so much fake tension built up because I liked it. This is where I'll the argue with you, quote unquote, and I'm putting air quotes up. I enjoyed the lead up in that intro scene. I thought the rest of the episode I thought the episode ended pretty good and started pretty good. I liked hanging.
We got to steal this 1,000-pound antique ancient fucking canoe because we can't hollow out a fucking tree of our own,
or we can't go to Amish country. Someone the other night
and then carry it across the glass. Extra weight.
Stupid.
For what?
But if you
what?
But if you in that moment actually kill Ezekiel, actually have the balls to have him die there hanging on a string for Walker food, then you get some teeth again. Maybe not. The Walking Dead might not ever get its audience back. It might not ever get to 30 million people like it did again. It won't. It's absolutely not going to get there, especially when Rick Grimes is leaving. And it might have some bursts for single episodes. We all know, and we don't know, spoiler alert if you haven't heard it for 5 seconds about The Walking Dead. In the last Rick Grimes episode, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're done here. Spoiler. Shane is going to show back up in a dream or something. We're going to see Shane again. We're going to see Shane again this season. So maybe...
I'm sorry, Rick.
I'm sorry, Rick. I'm sorry, Shane. Let's hang out in heaven. Come to my show, The Punisher, and start killing things. It's a better show.
this episode didn't.
But why
give me
didn't you
much
kill?
hope
That's all
for
I'm
the
saying, Joe.
season.
Why didn't you kill Ezekiel? You had a chance to actually do
Yep.
something with balls. And then with killing Gregory at the end, you could have somehow had it be Rick fucked up on the road and Maggie went against him and started to go a little AWOL. It didn't need, or because Gregory did one last thing. It didn't need to be because Ken died, and then we care about Ken. I air quotes again. We care about Ken, and then we care about Ken's family because the mother's Brett Butler, and we know that actress, so we'll care about her. And then have them do some stupid, ridiculous bullshit, and then have that all lead up to a point where Maggie has to make a decision. I feel like some of the elements were all right. Maggie getting attacked visually, that was a well set up scene. Her running back and hanging Gregory. Joe, I'd argue with you. I thought that was done pretty well from just a base standpoint.
The thing is okay. I was okay with hanging Gregory. I had no fucking problem with that. Katie was like, why is she like ordering fucking Daryl to do that? Why is Daryl the executioner?
Yeah, we've learned from Game of Thrones that she should carry out her own sentence right there. The
right? Like it felt weird. It felt but then on top of that, the way they get to it all was just so fucking. It was just. It felt really forced. Like it felt really forced. Like, fine, let's kill Gregory, but we didn't need to go all round and about like that with the fucking knife fight and shit. Like, we really didn't.
No, I agree. It didn't need to go there.
Like, yeah, he incited me with all this shit and he gave me the knife, but like, ultimately, that's his word against mine. Like, if he doesn't pull out the knife there and he just says, I don't know what the fuck that dude's talking about, we know, like, yeah, sure, I don't like you. That's no secret. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
no, I'm sorry. I'm just reading the chat. Someone's Catagate said, you guys know that the episode 5, which seemingly is going to be Rick's last episode, the one that Shane shows up, Gimple wrote it, so we might be in trouble. Let's go back. Well, not worried, but worried that Negan will get way too much screen time again and ruin the show. Oh, Negan's coming back. Once Rick dies, it's going to be the Negan show. Straight up.
Yep.
You're just getting this world ready for me. There's no way Negan's not becoming a hero / anti-hero leader of our crew when some weird thing comes in that kills Rick. Whatever ends up killing Rick, we can talk about that later when Joe's on in 2 weeks. And as we're leading into that point, I think Joe's going to be here for the episode. That's Rick's last one too. So ultimately, we're going to get Rick dying somehow, and some evil force is going to come in that's going to be too much for everyone to handle. And the only way to handle it is to sick Negan on it. And then Negan comes out, the rock music plays, I'm back, bitches. And he's back, and it's going to be Negan for the second half of the season. And that's going to be the second half of the season. The back half episodes are going to be the Negan becomes a good guy stretch. And they've already started it. They started it last season. Joe and I pointed it out a lot. It's happening. And yes, Ken is gone too soon. We all care about Ken. Also, the live chat says, Santovia says, wait, Shane's in heaven? and then, sorry. And then,
who's Ken? The kid that got eaten?
The kid. And then Bernie says it's easy to get in these days.
I gotta save the horsey. No.
No.
And then as he lay dying, they go slaughter all the zombies like it was nothing. Like they should have done in the first place. Okay, us 4 will handle it. This is nothing. We've done this 1,000 times.
Catagate says, every time I play Super Street Fighter 2 from now on, I'm going to choose Ken as my player to remember Ken of The Walking Dead. I can't believe anyone's still watching Mayan, says Bernie. Gregory Negan, excess savior population should not have seats in the lifeboat. Dead already in my script, says K. Rich. Dart says, the Ken death was needed, but went down way too dumb. And I agree that something was needed to drag Maggie. And that's my point.
If you're going to do that like it from there, his death, the mom and dad, the governor, getting the governor hanged. That's all one storyline, right? So you needed the catalyst of the kid dying. Okay, sure. Have the kid fall through the fucking glass. The lightest of the whole fucking bunch. As he's like, oh, I just got to go run back and get the rope. And then fall through. That is stupid enough and it works.
And it's
The
fun
kid's
enough to
still
watch.
dead.
Yeah, fun enough to watch because you get to see a kid hanging on a string and getting chopped by walkers, and it's somewhat
Not even.
shock
He's
value.
not even on a string. Like he just falls straight through and he gets fucking
right. Both
shocked
of them. You
to
can
death.
you can have
Thinks
his,
he wants to run back and he jumps off the last stair like an idiot.
and
Like a
you can
kid
even
would
put
do.
you can put in a moral moment of whatever where where the kid and Ezekiel both fall in at the same time. Ezekiel's on the string, the kid falls down, and they all decide to save Ezekiel, or Carol does, and then we get more of Carol hating kids. I mean, there's killing kids or something. There's ways to do it to make it funny, make it interesting, make it not stupid, and not cut your balls off to spite your dick. Ultimately, and that's what this episode did for me. Because I don't think it was horse shit bad like some of the stuff in the last 2 seasons. I'll be honest, but this was worse. This was worse because
It's a premiere.
It was a premiere. They had a chance to do some cool shit, and they choose the way of you had a chance to make a good decision, and you chose stupidity.
And right, you wrote TV trope trash
Instead of taking an opportunity, which in which ridiculous comparison to the show we're going to talk about next, which I just want to preview something I'm going to say then, where I was listening to a podcast about the last show that we're going to talk about, and I don't want to spoiler it for anyone. It's Better Call Saul. They were talking about how a certain section of that episode, and we'll talk specifically about that in our discussion about that, was not working. They had an idea for it. They recorded it. They filmed it a certain way, and they wanted it to be set up in a certain structure. They watched it back, and they said to themselves, this isn't working. And they trashed it. They said, we're not doing this. We're better than this. And they chose to do something different. And there was some stuff that didn't match up properly, and they talked about it, where this was set up in a different way, so we had to use this shot, similar to Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz. And there's certain shots that they just had to keep because you can't reshoot everything. And certain stuff they just don't have the time or the money to reshoot. But they went in and they restructured a whole section of an episode because it didn't work. Do you think The Walking Dead does that? I don't think they do, or maybe they do, and they decide this actually makes too much sense. This has too much balls to it. We need to make this stupider or something. Or we can't kill a main character here. We can't do this. Maybe it was written that a main character dies, and then they decide, well, Rick's leaving, so we can't lose any more main characters, so we need to kill someone that we hardly know, and enter fucking Ken. Fuck Ken. Sorry, Joe. So let's go down. They killed. To be fair, Category, Scott Gimple's strength is writing solo episodes, so maybe it might be a good episode with Rick's last one. We got Dwarf Burger, which the lovely Dworkin in the live chat. Ken was one of the better recent. Fuck you, Ken. Fuck you, Dworkin. I know you're just trolling. You didn't even watch the episode. I challenge. Don't listen to Dwarf Burger Swamp Beer in the live chat. He is the worst troll on the planet.
He is the biggest troll. He will troll you in real life.
Yeah. He defines the word troll. He's hanging out. He's
all troll.
Yeah, he's the DM troll.
Don't bridge troll.
Yeah, and never play D&D with him too. He's evil.
Send in the Dwarf Burger.
Send in the Dwarf Burger. That's right. Michelle Brown, Michonne and Daryl should have been able to handle that little group. That scene was dumb. It wasn't only dumb. It was also very, very cheesy and not in a good way. When Rick goes, you two handle this. I can't do a Rick voice right now. You two handle this. And the two of them go in and get all action. Usually I like scenes like that, but for some reason the way it was handled was really ridiculously cheesy. Glass breaks, stomps out of Negan's glass breaks and stomps out of his jail cell like Magneto, I would say. Let's continue back. Oh, scrolling down. Ken was one of the I keep going to Dwarf Burgers. Ken is a great character. If they had killed Ezekiel right there, I would have been actually shocked. But no, they killed Ken. The fuck? Maggie had Glenn's kid. Lori had Shane's kid, but not Rick's. Rick always claimed her.
No. Did you see that kid? You saw that kid, right? It's got blonde hair. They made a point to give it Rick's blonde locks, not Shane or Laurie's dark hair. I mean, I know that doesn't say anything, but if we're going by Game of Thrones, right?
Oh, the seed is strong with Rick Grimes.
Right. I mean, if we're going by Game of Thrones rules, it's Rick's kid.
I see. Yeah, I was joking while watching the episode that he was looking more and more like Shane in every situation, every moment. The horse kicked him in the breaking rib, which punched a hope in his lung. Says Tim. Oh, flaming trash. Says Dwarf Burger. The walker bite did not kill Ken because they could have chopped off his arm. Didn't he bite him in sort of his lower chest area? I wasn't sure. I thought it was in a position, and that's another thing, Joe, that I thought was done pretty well. That when Ken gets bit in the stupidest editing in the worst way, they cut it in a way we haven't seen from a character's perspective turning into a walker in a while, and I thought that was done pretty well. I just wish it was a character we cared about.
Did I step out of the room? He actually turned. They let him.
No, he doesn't turn, but he's like dying. We get this sort of shaky cam thing where we hear voices very subtly, like in a whisper, and you see him dying and losing his mind and shit a little bit. So I guess I liked that we were in a character, that something bad's happening to a character, and it feels like
the whispers a little.
Yeah, maybe. I don't talk too much.
I didn't catch that. And I didn't think, like, big deal. So the kid died well on screen. Like, okay, the whole getting to him die on screen was absolutely fucking stupid, and I don't know how you could pay attention after that. So like let me go save the horse. Okay, I'm down with that. I'm down with saving the horse, but like, I don't understand the freak out over the walkers. You've been living in this world for how many fucking years, running around clearing
clear. Joe, it's because they feel like they need to make the walkers dangerous again,
but that's the thing. They're only dangerous if you've learned nothing and tie them up in a fucking cornfield, and freak out and everybody scatter and run, when instead of doing what you've been doing this whole fucking time to stay alive. Like, you see the threat, you see where they are. Don't get too close to 3 of them at once unless there's 3 of you at once. Keep an eye on your surround. Like, I know they're stealthy. Apparently, they make no
Joe
sound
hates
with their moaning and walking over leaves and sticks and through mud.
Hashtag Joe hates
this
horses.
thing was 15 feet away. All he did was fucking turn around and the thing was on him. Like, do they teleport now? Is that it? Is this just like off-screen teleportation that we've never, like, they just don't talk about it?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I like how they made it to DC.
Not
really
dangerous.
Really?
Yeah, they make it all the way to fucking DC, dude. All the way to, from wherever Alexandria is, however many 5, 10, 2 miles out. This is the first time second time maybe we're really seeing DC, and they're at the fucking Smithsonian downtown, right? No fucking zombies around. Okay, great. They've all cleared out of some of the cities, but like buildings, trapped in buildings, in rooms like that they've boarded themselves up in, like, getting there, small groups wandering out of fucking gas stations, whatever. You took care of them all, creeping out of the woods on the road. Oh, there's one, get it. There's one, get it. There's one, get it. But no. This herd comes out and like y'all freak and fucking scatter instead of turning around, stopping with the fucking stupid wagon and killing them all. And then taking your time with the wagon so you don't kill your horse, so you don't fucking break your wagon that's 150 fucking years old, dragged there from the frontier.
Exactly, Joe. That walker came from fucking nowhere, says Dart. And let's continue into the live chat. Where did they get those chains? They got it from the Night King. Those legless crawling ones will sneak up on you. They're just crawling on the ground, says Dwarf.
And the walker, right, walks by the whole back of the fucking horse instead of taking a bite. They eat animals too, right? They go after the animals. We've seen them go for some animals instead of people, or stay eating animals instead of getting up off the like. Okay.
Sure. Santovia says, did Ken have a weapon when he went back to free the horse? I don't think so. He's an idiot.
Horses, dude. Really?
Sorry, Joe. That was said in the live chat. You're just catching up to seeing the visual of that. Did Ken have a weapon? No. Peter says, I'm no Eugene, but they should be funneling walkers into fire pits by now. Bliss says, I took the day off of work to watch this live. This is so great.
Whoa. Who just said that? Right? Why aren't they doing this? Like, they know fire attracts them. They know they can walk around with shit on them and not you know.
There's smarter ways to handle situations like this. I always thought I'd get on a boat in an ocean and come ashore just for supplies, says Bernie. I think they dealt with that in Fear the Walking Dead, but I didn't watch long enough to get that. But there was one point where they were on a boat there. I remember that. And then there were walkers underwater, breaking the boat or some shit.
Yeah, that brings up a whole, like, there's a great couple chapters in World War Z where they tie up like those colonies of boats.
Stop talking about good zombie stuff.
Right? And they're tied together. But we all know, right? noise travels better in water than it does in the air. So all these anchors and chains and boat bottoms that are tied together create a lot of noise through the ocean, and it starts attracting like mass amounts of zombies that have all drowned, that have all fallen or walked into the ocean and shit like that. And they end up climbing up chains and climbing up the anchors and getting some people. Like it's really well done, really well written. Like this is shit that they could have explored. Like they don't even explore like necessarily bloated water zombies too much.
No, we have to deal with emotional issues of characters.
I'd never go near the fucking water if there was zombies in the world.
Volley says
in more than a tub.
Volley's taking the day off or taking some time off work to watch this as well. Jimmy Olsen Blues. Hey, cannot watch live, different time zones next year. Jimmy, great to see you. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. Let me spin the fucking wheel for you. Cattigat says, I love World War Z, the book. Best reason to have boat sex. Cynical says,
they did such terrible shit. They should have just made fucking vignettes for that movie. Had fucking Brad Pitt do interview with a vampire zombie style.
Jimmy, you landed on bite of a sandwich. So if you're out there and you have some sandwich meat in the next few minutes, make sure you take a bite of a sandwich for Jimmy Olsen Blues for that huge, amazing, thank you, super chat donation. You are great. Yes, Tim, I did shave. I have to go to a job interview-like thing tomorrow, so I needed to shave for that. But
that's okay. I grew out my beard because I knew it was going to be shaving.
Exactly. We work in unison. One of these days, we'll both have beards together. Grow your beard back right now. I will try to do that. I don't have any. Let me see if I have the ability to do that. Let me see. No, can't do it. Can't do it. I was gonna pop up a picture, but I realized I didn't have one.
Give it 2 days. It'll be like
it
mine.
will. It will.
Seriously.
Really.
That shit grows on him.
I shaved this morning. It's already. I'm a hairy bastard. You don't want to hear about it. Okay, Joe. So let's get back to talking about this Walking Dead before we change subjects. Let's see. What didn't we?
Stephanie. I heard Stephanie's like, yeah, dude. I was very bored for a lot of this. I thought it was very fucking. It was snooze fest right on Steph.
Do you think that Maggie made the right let's examine at least one thing about the episode. Do you think Maggie made the right decision to say fuck the saviors, they need to give me something back if I'm going to keep giving up food, and to finally say fuck it with Gregory and hang him and make a point? Just from a show standpoint, do you think Maggie made the right decision?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because there doesn't really need to be any proof. She should have killed him long ago. She probably just should have walked in and slit his fucking throat. I mean, what difference would it have made in the eyes of the community as far as I see? She's still killing this guy that a lot of people still like, right? Like, and she's doing it very publicly. But she could just as easily be like, yeah, I just slit this motherfucker's throat, put her on a pike in the fucking yard. What's the difference? Like, oh no, the kids saw. Like, they're all gonna fucking hear about it anyway. No?
Yeah, and why do it as a public hanging? I mean, I guess you want to make a scene about it, but I would have just stabbed him in that moment in the room where when she wrestles him down and he tried to kill her with the knife. I would have taken the knife and stabbed him right there and called it a day. Let's see.
Would that have been cold blood though? Would they have been like he said that he tried to kill her. They planned it, and then she went right over there and stabbed him instead of dragging him out and hanging him in front of everybody. I don't see necessarily a difference in the mind of a lot of people. That being said, this dude needed to die, like you said, three seasons ago. Like,
yeah, but I do think I definitely like Maggie's.
And so let me say this too. If that's the case, if you're gonna drag him out and fucking just hang him for what he did, why don't you just get in your fucking car, drive over to fucking Alexandria, and put a bullet in your pal? And what's Rick gonna do? No.
Yeah, you think Rick's
no. Yeah. I'm leaving now. Okay. Okay, bye, Rick.
What is Rick gonna do? Good point, Joe, because Rick is not. If her and Daryl go to the prison and go and kill Negan, they're not gonna. No one's gonna stop them. Rick's not gonna.
They're 2 of the 4 so-called presidents, right? There's 4 communities. There's a king. There's elected fucking what's her name, and there's elected Maggie. There's appointed Daryl, and then there's just assumed control Rick, right?
Ricktatorship.
Ricktatorship. Okay, so Rick says no, kill him. Ezekiel, I don't know if we necessarily have one way or the other. He needs to die. He's kind of like a fence post. And then 2, he should have been killed right away. So you go and fucking hang this man in public. Get in your fucking car, drive over to Alexandria, go down to whatever fucking prison cell they put him in, and shoot him in the fucking face. You didn't like it, Rick? What are you gonna do? You gonna put me in jail now? Like, dude.
No, you go down there, you build up your forces, and you stop him. And I love how Rick's trying to use the kids as a, come on, you gotta come bring the kids to Alexandria. Come home, everybody. And it's you got Negan sitting in a cell, living, waiting to be the star of the show, and everyone knows it, but you, Rick. Just kill him and be done with it. And it's quite ridiculous.
So to answer your question,
I think she did the right thing.
And no, with the Gregory thing, she did it to Gregory. Why doesn't she go do it to Negan? She has, like, okay, Gregory tried to kill you. Okay, great reason to kill him. Great reason to murder this motherfucker. He tried to take your child's only mother away from him. Guess what? Negan took your child's father, the love of your life, the person that you decided you chose to spend your entire life with. Okay, murdered him, beat his fucking head in. And you allow Rick to put him in a prison and keep him there. Because on a whim, he decides, after deciding we're all going to kill this motherfucker, he decides, no, there's a better way.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman Grimes. I don't kill. I'm not going to kill the Joker.
Again, and I bring this up. This is a movie trope. This is a TV trope, right? I am going to fight my way to the boss. Right? I am going to fight my way to the boss. I am going to kill, murder, shoot in the face. Nathan Drake is responsible for this. Hundreds of foot soldiers who are just getting paid to be guards, and then you come out of nowhere shooting your fucking gun at
red
them,
shirts,
blasting them away. Well, they might shoot you first if you decide to go that route and not be stealthy or whatever. But anyway, they're paid fucking guards, and you kill them one by one for trying to kill you. But the guy who pays them to do it, at the very top, when you get to him, he tries to kill you even. He tries to kill you. But no, I'm going to arrest you.
That's wrong.
I killed hundreds of your fucking men.
Wrong.
Dozens of your men, Negan.
It doesn't matter.
To get to you.
Joe, killing people's
But you're
wrong.
not going to die. I'm just going to put you in prison.
This
where you
needs
might
to
get out
stop.
someday, you might not. But
this murder needs to stop. Oh my God.
Jessica Jones got it right. Jessica motherfucking Jones got it right.
She's not fucking around. She is not fucking around. Sorry.
She got it right. She got to the fucking, what was his name? Kilgrave or some shit?
Yeah, spoiler alert for Jessica Jones.
Got to that motherfucker, and she killed that motherfucker. She didn't say, I'm going to arrest you where anything could happen in the future. You get out and you try to kill me and dozens of other people again, or continue your reign of anarchy, fucking Negan, right? No. She goes and fucking kills the motherfucker like she set out to do. Does this make her a bad hero? No. Does this make her a good hero? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Dozens of families, hundreds of people will feel some sort of satisfaction that this fucking psychopath was murdered.
We were talking about video games. Imagine if Link gets to the final boss and gets to Ganon and he's like, I don't feel like killing him.
Now,
I'm gonna let him live.
I want to stress and make clear that in my examples, I'm talking about the movies.
No, we're talking
fantasy.
We're talking about marionette. No, I feel like Joe.
Okay.
This is a. I almost want to put this as a warning. We're talking. Yes, everything that we talk about on the show is the land of make believe. These are our toys. We're talking about what we want to do in make believe playland to these characters. These are not real people.
Comes out and murders that motherfucker.
Nathan Drake is not a real person.
Nathan Drake is done if Mr. Meeseeks shows up.
Yeah, it's done. Okay, so we need to get that. We need to clarify that we're not talking about real people. We're talking about characters. We are Lord Helmet playing with our dolls right now. That's all. Cynical Lindsay says, "Thank you, Joe. It's acceptable to execute. Then Negan should have been killed. Hearing Michonne say they wonder if they should have killed Negan makes Carl's death completely pointless." K-Rich says hashtag Joe might makes right. Yes, morality should be a thing on The Walking Dead. Joe favors a knife to the back of the head.
Shouldn't be a thing.
Shouldn't be a thing. Yeah, shouldn't be a thing. Thank you, Joe. And
like
that
our view of morality, like, yeah, it's completely different. It's changed. Like you just hung a man without a trial on the word of another drunk man, and like, yes, he attacked you in the middle of the night, but nobody saw it, nobody witnessed it. Again, that's your word against his, and you just hung him. There was no trial, there was no conviction, there was nothing like that, and you hung him very publicly in front of everybody, including 2 children who came out who weren't being watched again, right?
They
that's
don't.
All right. That's all right.
We can show them the flowers.
Don't go kill.
We have Carol around. She can always show them the flowers if they need be. Okay, so to just jump around a little bit.
And Michonne, and who? What? This is the mindset. You're more horrified that 2 children see you take New World justice, right, and know what that is going to be and learn a very valuable lesson from it. You're more horrified from that than the fact that this man is being hung very publicly in front of everybody out of anger and like I said, no trial, none of that stuff. Like that horrifies you more than what's about to happen that the kids are going to witness. Like that to me is very strange too. That's that's strange writing. That's very strange
on the
writing. No protest that you're going to murder this man on the word of these 2 guys and what Maggie says happened in that trailer. But also, everybody's okay with that. Everybody, even the Gregory supporters are okay with that. Nobody's speaking up. Nobody's saying a word. Everybody's just like, Maggie Tatership is now in effect.
And on the upside, though, we did get a reference about gas being made. So there's that. At least
they can't grow enough corn.
Sure.
They can't grow enough corn to supply enough gas.
I love how they threw that line. I love how they threw that line in, though. Like that could absolutely work.
That's an obvious thing, just from like it takes a lot of corn to produce the ethanol.
Yeah, just even just a little bit of it. Dwarf Burger says it's good to be Rick in the Ricktatorship. Tim says, "Oh, Kenny boy, those
like
pipes are
pipes are that shit with the gasoline that you have left to get it to last longer." But
let's see.
The only way it's going to be helpful.
Love in a box is a life worse than death. Joe favors knife to the back of the head. Oh, Kenny boy, the pipes are calling. Oh, Ken, we're gonna miss you, buddy.
I don't understand is, okay, you can't take the saviors. It's been a year, right? You necessarily can't take them all and put them in these other communities and spread them out, right? Not necessarily, but where you're going to be living near them and trading with them anyway and all this shit, and apparently working with them now and offering them supplies and all this shit.
Yeah, they're going to be building a bridge together.
Still in a dead zone factory. Are there really that many of them? 100 of them? 20 of them? 50 of them? Why haven't we gone out and found them a new place to settle in that doesn't have fucking poisoned Monsanto fucking land all
why don't we
it?
Clear another, since this whole area seems to be under control because we have all the organizations here, why don't we go get another community like in Alexandria or something like that?
And clear out fucking
the opposite.
I don't know, Jamestown or some shit.
Some shit like that. No, I definitely hear what you're saying there. Let's catch up in the chat a little bit here. We got lots of Ken love. Oh, Ken, we're going to miss you, buddy. Oh, Ken, poor Ken. And Phil had a weapon. It was called a Hadouken. Where's the drunk getting his booze, making the toilet hooch? I assume they're making the toilet hooch like bathtub gym, like DJ said, or just collecting over time, alcohol building up. But I'm sure there are some people making some home hooch in one of these places. You don't want kids hanging see the hanging though. I'm rooting for the zombies now, says Dwarf Burger. And Ryu is there. Hashtag Joe hang 'em high. Birdie the bird. Kids seeing zombies is okay though, but they can't see a hanging person. Big Kev said.
Right.
I love you, Birdie. Big Kev says, "What the fuck is up, guys? I've been waiting for this. Joe, eat a sandwich. I think the way Gregory tried to kill Maggie was better in the comics than the show." Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about this, about Gregory and Maggie in the comics versus the show, if you have memory of that?
I don't really remember it.
Big Kev, here's your spin.
I do know I liked it a lot more. And again, this is some of the stuff, like, okay, take a lesson from what your fans have said in critical reviews, right? And from other shows that have done things right when there is source material, right? Game of Thrones, again, I got to compare everything to Game of Thrones because it's Game of Thrones, right? They take material from the books and they change it. And they keep material from the books, in some instances, in pivotal scenes, very much the same, okay? It's a great balance. And there's no reason why you can't take this source fucking material and balance it to a point where you can take a scene that is as pivotal as this Gregory Maggie scene and do it the same way. Yes, book readers are going to know it. How many book readers are left with this show, watching this show? Probably a fair amount. And that's good reason to give them something directly from the book. And if there aren't book readers, well, then you're still giving them something fucking new.
Yeah.
So on a scene like this, it makes perfect sense to take what Kirkman has done and written and published and do it almost exact. It has a much better feel, a much better outcome. You're absolutely right, Big Kev. It was done better in the books, and this is a scene that could have been taken directly from the books. It would have pleased book readers, and it would have pleased new watchers and watchers that aren't familiar with the books whatsoever.
And they've done that in the past and done it to success. So it's interesting that they go back and forth.
Barely.
I think a couple moments they did it pretty well with the Alexandria thing where Rick shoots the husband and stuff. I thought that whole section was done pretty well from book to show. I thought that was one of the better ones, and there was a couple of other moments here and there, but for the most part, I definitely agree with what you're saying 100%. And let's finish up in the chat here. Big Kev says Joe the Beard's coming in perfect, right in time for winter. The Walking Dead jumped the shark with the Glenn long ago, says Dwarfburger. Did you go over Maggie's pregnancy? Yeah, it happened. She had her baby, and they skipped over that time so they could never make her pregnant. K. Rich says, I'm beginning to believe that The Walking Dead has jumped the shark. I actually like Fear better at this point. Bernie says, I presume the graphic novel and saw Carl lose his eye before it happened. Oh, oops. Didn't no, Carl's gone. It doesn't matter at that point anymore. So is there anything else to talk about in this episode that we haven't really hit on? Ezekiel and Carol and all of that, was that just yawn fest for you?
No, I guess we didn't talk about Rick's big push is to get Daryl home to rekindle his friendship, and Carol is gonna
take over.
She already sees Daryl going downhill, and is just like, you need to get out of here. I'm gonna take over this place.
Did you enjoy some of the scenes that we got, or the scene we got with Carol and Daryl together?
I enjoyed that, and I did enjoy
too.
Like the Carol giving Ezekiel.
I liked Ezekiel in this episode more than I liked him because he dropped the "thou art" when mortal shit.
Just him and Carol together. He drops it to her,
and it's all right.
That's annoying to me, and like as a townie, I would be like at every moment mocking this motherfucker in the way he talks. Like, you gonna thou at me like while I'm fucking like talking to you and shit. Like, dude, I've accidentally put thou in my phone to you, mocking him. And now every time I go to type
you have.
If I don't look close enough, it says thou, and I'm like, oh my god, my phone has gone completely fucking Ezekiel on me.
Your phone's going Ezekiel? Dude, you don't want to turn on the Ezekiel setting. That's tough to turn off.
It is so tough to turn off, no matter how many times I catch it and like click on the, oh no, I meant you for that. Like nope, it still keeps showing up. My fat fingers keep typing thou instead, or it keeps turning it to thou. It's so annoying. Like, if I was in this town, like, I would be like, get up on thou's fucking high horse and ride it right up your fucking rainbow ass, sire. Like drop the fucking pretense. You are a fucking fucking theater actor, and this shit comes off as fucking stupid. Like, you've lost your fucking mind. How is he the and oh, you're elected president of your and I'm stuck with fucking king, a fucking monarchy over here. Like, what the fuck is his kid just gonna be like? If he has a kid with Carol, that's the heir to the fucking Ezekiel throne. Like, ridiculous, really. Like, there's no way, Phil. Is there any way I end up in any of these fucking communities and I'm happy with the way fucking shit gets decided?
Probably not. I mean,
like, it's gonna be a Joe-tatorship or it's gonna be a fucking democracy, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see some. There's ways to salivate some of your needs where you'd just be happy just hanging out. Like a dictator, if they knew how to play you right, could probably play you and just like give you everything you need, so you wouldn't ask questions. Like if Negan set you up in a room with the Sega Genesis and a harem or something coming in there, I think maybe you just be like, okay, you can run your community any way you want. You want, I'll back off.
Negan harem passes.
Yeah, you be like his Merle.
Every couple of months.
Yeah, you be like his Merle for the most part. You know, you'd be like, okay, I'll listen.
No, dude, it doesn't fly. Like, it doesn't fly.
No way. You would be crazy annoying. I wouldn't even want to do it.
Have a tough time being in charge. Like,
Joe, I know you don't have any interest in doing this, but I wouldn't even want to do an escape room with you or something. It would get really like tense. It would get really tense being stuck in that room trying to escape the room with you. First of all, you'd be calling us all stupid. Secondly, you'd be trying to do everything really fast. I played basketball with Joe, and Joe occasionally, if the game wasn't going his way, he'd go into Super Joe mode where he just wouldn't pass the ball for about 20 minutes. And he would
but what would happen? What would happen?
We'd usually catch up and score, but that's beside the point. But anyways,
we'd usually win.
We'd catch up, and then we'd have to talk into you, and then we'd do some team shit and win at the end. But anyways, let's continue. That's a different topic for a different day, Joe. So, well, honestly, a dictator in this world might be kind of effective.
I am very competitive. Correct. This is not a secret. When I have something, I compete with myself. I compete with others. Like, it was instilled upon me from my older brother.
With the show we're going to talk about, yeah.
Anything.
Yep.
Let me win, or actually, did I ever have, like, a few years older than me? So, but like,
see the Better Call Saul reviews if you want to hear more about that relationship.
Yep, basically. Oh yeah.
So what else is there? I mean, we got to see. I think there was a participation trophy for everyone in this episode. One of my favorite parts of the episode. And yes, we're not talking about real characters here. Again, these are fake people. But my favorite part of the episode was when we had. Well, I'm gonna do a little example here.
Oh, well, what's her name? Enid gets.
Yeah. Where we have. I'm gonna do this again. Where we have the guy wrestling with Maggie. You know, wrestling with Maggie. I'm gonna hurt you. And then Enid comes in. I'm gonna help you. Bam. Done. And then Enid's suddenly in a wheelchair. I don't know.
Concussion, man.
Yeah,
she had a head wound there.
Yeah. But anyways, we saw Gabriel, we saw Eugene, we saw a lot of other characters.
We got touched in by to everybody.
We got touched by everybody. We did get touched by everybody.
There was a lot of, like I said, I like the getting shit done stuff.
Right. There was a lot of okay in this episode. There was a couple of moments of fair, but there was still a lot of shit. I'm not. When I'm saying it was better than last season, I don't mean it was good. I mean last season and especially season 7 was just horseshit. Last season had a couple of alright episodes here and there, but this for the most part had some okay and had some fair and had some meh. It was boring. It was boring. After the intro, it was boring.
Yep, because they followed all. Was it Critchard earlier? Yeah, there was a few stupid moments, and there was too many stupid moments for a season premiere, and it sets a tone for what should be the rest of the season. It was very kind of like a premiere is supposed to be something that grips you and pulls you in and makes you want to watch the rest of the season. Maggie hanging Gregory, which should have happened 3 seasons ago, doesn't make me want to do it. Another fake is main character, quick getaway. Another red shirt death. These are not things that make
these things not make a good show. No, I'm sorry, I tried to say it like Yoda. I failed.
It doesn't. Like, there was some touching moments. There was some comedic moment, I guess, but like, it fell short, and it was a bad start. I mean, what's her name? Kang?
Angela Kang, yes.
Angela Kang. She has a lot to overcome with where the story got written to, but she was a writer for a lot of that shit. And
And
It's
she's a
like
protege
saying-
of Gimple.
Right. So there's things that she's learned to do that she believes were successful moments in the TV shows past that we're gonna see over and over again, apparently. Now maybe this was just, I'm gonna try to clean up some of this shit as quick as possible.
I think this whole
and get
first
on with my thing.
I think that's
but
I think that's what's going to happen in this whole first half, Joe. So I guess, is there anything else that we haven't talked about The Walking Dead? That being said, we are going to go back and take some comments from the video section. So this isn't the last time we're going to talk about The Walking Dead. We're just going to step over to a different television program now, and feel free to, when we open things up at the end a little bit, if you have any Walking Dead questions, feel free to ask them. We're definitely like, no more talking about The Walking Dead now. But here we go. Let's talk about this show now.
I'm here before you today to vouch for Daniel Stark.
Your Honors, my name is Joseph Adamson, Adamson Field and Wright. It's my pleasure to stand before you this afternoon and vouch for Gina Robles. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Charles McGill, senior partner at Hamlin McGill. I stand before you to vouch for my brother, James Morgan McGill.
Your Honors, Nathaniel Scott, solo proprietor, and I have the pleasure to stand and vouch today for Francis Yu.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
what a song that they sing in karaoke together, right?
And this was a big part of stuff I learned in the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast, where the ABBA thing, they had to work really hard. ABBA doesn't usually give out their songs, or I'm saying that was a good song to start with, but I mean, all the ABBA shit in this episode was by luck that the music director happened to bump into one of the ABBA guys that was a fan of Breaking Bad, and still they needed to work within their own stuff. The Muzak version that they got, and they hinted this earlier in the season, all needed to be created by ABBA. They don't usually hand out their songs, but they did because they love this show and they convinced them that then they're fans of the show. But enough of that, sorry. Joe, Better Call Saul, the season finale was this week. I don't think enough people are watching this show, but I don't care because I'm watching it and I love it. I thought this season was the best season yet.
I was asked twice if it was picked up for 5th season. To which my only response was, that shit was a lock at go that this was going to go 5 seasons. No matter how many people watched this show, it was going 5 seasons, no matter what. If they had to move nights or whatever, it was a lock for 5 seasons, period.
Yeah. And this episode was an excellent season finale. So much great shit to talk about. I don't even want to break down this whole episode again because I did it and we don't have to. We're just going to kind of go.
Like, it's how TV should be done. And like I say, when I talk to people about at work, friends on PS4 and, neighborhood or whatever, and big thing of what I talk about is television because that's the best small talk there is, and I'm passionate about it, as you see sometimes. And every time they're like, what are you watching? I'm like, well, I really like Game of Thrones and I really like Better Call Saul. Aside from that, there's nothing else. There's nothing else I need to watch. I need to make sure I see. Like television there's a few shows, and it started like around Sopranos, and there's a few first seasons of shows, but that fell off. But these first seasons, and then surprising long runs of some other shows like Sopranos, like Oz, that have, and there's problems with both of those shows too. Don't get me wrong, but
there's problems with all shows except for Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I know. I mean, to this
point with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Game of Thrones, I've reached a point, and even the first few seasons of Walking Dead, I reached a point where other TV is awful. I almost can't watch it. Now, you mentioned Lethal Weapon.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Stifler Lethal Weapon thing in a little bit later. But to talk a little bit more about Better Call Saul, this episode really pulled the season together. Is like the dude. Big Kev for another super chat donation. You ended on drum fun earlier. I'll give you a drum solo at the end of the podcast. Let me spin the wheel one more time for you. But this episode really hit home in a lot of places. We got to see Chuck at his best in that karaoke scene. We got to see Kim and Kim at her best. She killed it this season. She stepped up her acting, and her character got written a lot better. We constantly talk about Vince Gilligan on this podcast over and over about how Vince has so much to do with it. But the acting, and I also I mentioned it on the other show, the other recap, Peter Gould, who this show is his baby. He wrote this episode, and he's the main writer of this episode and one of the main creative force behind Better Call Saul. The difference between Saul and Bad is Peter Gould has more of a hand in it, where he was just a writer, not just a writer, but a writer, and eventually Vince's like confidant writer at the end of Breaking Bad.
There's so many good shots in this, like that.
So
like,
fucking beautiful,
like
dude.
When they're laying in bed and you can't see their faces, and you only see their torsos, and they're laying in bed together, and they're, Jimmy's drunk, Chuck's tipsy, and they're singing. Like, tell me that shot and that scene wasn't fucking just
Rhapsody.
Unreal.
It was
So
perfect.
good. It was so good.
It was so perfect. And Michael McKean is amazing too. And a lot of people, I do want to mention this as well, that a couple people the night of were saying, even though he couldn't fit into the episode, they would have loved to see Nacho. I guess there was a scene shot with Nacho that they had to cut for time. This episode, they kept trying to get this episode down in time. I guess the original cut of it was almost 2 hours long, and having to cut so much time out of the episode. And this episode's
they could have cut that fucking dark scene with Fring and Gussie in the fucking dungeon there in the what's his name, Dean, Gus, whatever, Fring and his little chemistry friend there, Gale. Like, they could have cut that. That wasn't, like, I guess they needed the look between Mike, and they needed to get there somehow, but like,
right, and that was bringing him back because of the end of the season. I hear you there, but ultimately they originally had an idea for this episode that with the Mike stuff and with the catching the German and all of that, they were very influenced by the movie Dunkirk. And they wanted to film something, make this episode an homage to Dunkirk, where every character was on a timeline, but it was a different timeline, where the Mike stuff happened over the course of a couple weeks of hunting down the German, a couple of days, and the Saul stuff took time over the couple of weeks, and then the Nacho stuff was going to take place in another timeline, and then the Lalu stuff was all going to be a Dunkirkian edited together thing. They shot it that way. They pieced it together that way. They watched it back, and they decided that it was shit. And they decided that this isn't a good thought. This isn't our show. This doesn't feel like our show. We need to go back and trash this and rewrite the whole situation.
And whatever they did worked, because the finale was fantastic. It was right down to Kim's fucking, and right down to the fucking, it's Saul
Goodman thing. Yeah.
So
what did you think about how dumb that German is for thinking that he could get away with it? I don't mean as a unbelievable point, but could you? I can understand that situation. It sucks. Like when you think you're becoming friends with someone, you think you can get away with more things. Like if you were my boss, I would be like, oh, I can come in late every day, because you're my boss.
The amount of okay, you were flown to a location, blindfolded to fucking get there. We saw what everybody went through to get this bid, right? And then you see the space that you and your men have been put up in, that's been provided for you, the size of this warehouse that has houses in it, right? And the scope of what you're building and how you have to build it and how secret it is says enormous amounts about what you are undertaking and who you are undertaking it for. Okay? Yeah, the incredible stupidity of this guy.
Yeah.
Like you if it's that important to you, or you need to get out to go see this woman or fly her to you and do this weekend thing, then you keep working Mike until
He agrees.
You work away where
he agrees to
him.
Yeah, they let them go to strip clubs. You could get it to a point if you get some work done where you convince Mike that it's okay enough to have the wife come to a random motel
in as well
to a different state even, and you fly him to a different state.
No, the same way they all got there.
Yeah, exactly.
Why haven't we just flown her in? We're gonna pay her
play a long game here, and I get
your money,
and I get
we're gonna fly her in.
Yeah, and I get the panic attack and stuff, but still,
you bring her there and you make her stay there until the project is done as well.
Pretty dumb thinking. I hear that. I saw the Sabrina trailer. Brooke was asking me about that. I haven't watched the Sabrina stuff, but I will try to check that out at some point. Steph Snow, great to see you in the live chat. Pretty soon, The Walking Dead's ratings will be on par with other shows. They should be promoting some of the other shows. There's great stuff in AMC. Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul should get that Sunday night spot for next season, but they won't do that. They obviously will not do that. Do you think that they killed all the Germans? No. I think Mike.
No, they're not going to kill any of them.
Yeah, Mike held to his word. Mike will hold to his word. Those guys are trustworthy. None of them. That little Kai guy was.
It's one thing.
It was a good red herring.
An accident that this guy dies in a foreign country. It's another thing to explain why 7 German nationals, all out of country, all on one business trip, all don't return.
Not to mention
that's a lot more answers need to be provided.
Exactly. Not to mention they all did their job and they're all not running away and they're all doing what they needed to have done. And there's no reason not to honor their agreement. Neither Mike or Gus are really that kind of person. They're not in control for what Varner did, and Varner acted emotionally in that moment. And I like this season, looking back on the season, I like what they did with Kai. It was a good sort of red herring kind of character where you got pissed off at that little douche for what he was saying with Mike, and it made the friendship with Varner, bless you, a little innocuous and not really something you worried about leading to something wrong. I kept asking more the question is, are they going to kill all the Germans when they finish this job? I didn't necessarily see this coming not in a bad way, but in a good way. They hid this well, but it was still there. If you watch Varner and how much he needed to talk to people at a bar, he was searching for that connection, and it was always there since he was too emotional of a guy. And he immediately tried to befriend Mike and get in on that. So let me go through the live chat a little bit here. Phil thought his manager at Hot Topics was cool because he was smoking weed. Mike, great to see Mike in the live chat. Varner talked too much. He was so ignorant, says Dart. He thought Mike would have had his back or was his friend, but he didn't realize he was fucking Mike.
Talk to Mike.
Yes, I want Mike.
Mike has a boss, and he told you, no, dude, don't talk to Mike. Mike, you left a letter, dude. That's not an answer from Mike.
Yeah, you left a Dare John letter.
Right.
Like, no, go fuck yourself.
You left I ran off. I'm on the way to do all the things I told you to do, or to call Interpol and let them know what I'm doing.
Nice. We got Tom P. Hey, Phil and Joe. Hell yeah, I can really catch these things live. Welcome back to another season of The Walking Dead rated PG. And Joe was saying that right before we started, that it's really good to be able to do some of these daytime casts. I haven't been able to do as much of them with everything going on with the house in the move, but once we're set back in, and at least from now until we move, I have a little bit more flexibility for now. I thought it would be that Kai that betrayed Mike since he was the hothead. Me too, and I liked that they surprised us there and they put it out there for us. Bernie says Varner is no Walt.
You know too that Kai was doing a great job. That it was a real turnaround.
Yeah, he got his shit done. Lord Sebastian, you did not miss it. We still got a little while left to go here, and before Joe needs to run, I think at some point relatively soon, right?
Yep.
And so we're going to kick over to our voicemails. If anyone wants to leave a last-minute voicemail, now is the time at 781-990-8509. Again, that's 781-990-8509. Then we're going to go through the comment section, as much of the comments as we can go from the video, and also taking some live chat as well, as always, the live motherfucking chat. So let's listen to the final messages for the Better Call Saul season from our good buddy, Big fucking J.
Yo, great idea, Phil. Having another show. I know some of it's about The Walking Dead, which I'm not. I was a fan for a few seasons. I kind of lost track with it.
Good, you're lucky.
But you know, I love my Better Call Saul, and I think it's a great idea because we want to know what the fuck does Joe think? Because Joe's the man, and he earned that respect.
Oh.
You know, it's not a proper recap without your sidekick there, man. Joe Dirty Locks. So anyway, the last I left kind of a weak message on the night of the finale. You know what it is? I love fucking Monday Night Football, man. I wish that Better Call Saul was on Tuesday because
it should be on Tuesdays or Sunday.
Likes to throw a couple Fazooskis on the games, and you know.
Well, at least it's over now, and the Patriots.
So it kind of cuts into my interest, but I do watch it. I kind of watch both. But the next day, I zoomed in on Better Call Saul, and I really appreciated what a great fucking episode it was, man. And I heard this somewhere else, and I kind of know why Nacho wasn't in it. Basically, there was just too much storyline to wrap up with Jimmy. They had to wrap that storyline up, and they had to wrap up with Mike and the German. I forget his name.
Really, Nacho's storyline was wrapped up
for the episode. I mean, for where he was going. He's saving up money to try to get him and his father out. Right. They could.
We know that
you could have landed it on that.
And that's where it kind of did it. And like we know that he's still beholden to two bosses, Fring and this other guy.
And now Lalu. Yeah, Lalu is.
And so, right, Lalu. So his story propels us into Lalo's start story. So we got the finish of Nacho's story. I don't mind that he wasn't in this episode. I like the character, I like the actor, and I like seeing him on my screen, but it wasn't necessary for the finale. He is a supporting actor. It's a supporting storyline, and that storyline leads us back to Fring. It leads us with Mike, and Mike and Fring's relationship. And really, most of the stuff we're getting with Nacho is extra, probably because the character is so well liked. They might have started this Lalu shit a season ago. It probably could have been done.
It's going to be real fun to see next season when because from listening to them talk on the Insiders podcast, Nacho is going to be very happy with his performance and what he's brought to the character, and he's a big part of I think what they want to do next season. So it's going to be.
It shows with how they've like I know they had a main outline of what they wanted to do, but episode by episode wasn't written like 5 seasons in advance and stuff. So I know that judging by what they've seen out of him, they've given him more and increased the role size where they might have used other characters and stuff like that where they could pay less.
Let's get back to more fucking Big J. Birdie is straight out of Strong Island, says Birdie over to in Steph Snow. Oh my God, this voicemail is awesome. Lots of love to Big J. It's one of the highlights of the Better Call Saul season for us. It's getting Big J to call in. So let's listen to the rest of his messages here.
I can't believe I forget this fucking old German guy's name, but
Varner.
You know, they had to wrap those 2 storylines up, man. And I tell you, man, it was just such a.
Look at. I'm sorry. I'll get back to Big J in a second. Dwarf Burger is such a troll. He's like trolling you for Babylon 5 now. He's like, it's not like Babylon 5. Like, he's trying to get both of our goats, saying 7 and 8 is the worst seasons. The Dwarf Burger.
Babylon 5 is still one of the best sci-fi shows ever on television. Now. That being said, J. Michael Straczynski, the creator of Babylon 5, has also created one of the other.
Are you talking about Alter Carbon?
No, I'm talking about Sense8.
Oh, Sense8, yes. That's what I meant. Anyways.
Him and the Matrix ladies did it.
Yeah, let's
go. The guys up, man.
The women that made the Matrix.
I tell you, man, it was just such a fucking awesome episode, man. When I rewatched it, and I really enjoyed how Jimmy told that girl, "Don't take no shit," you know. That was the one time he was real, you know. He got real with that part, you know, telling her, because that was him. He's looking at it like, that's me. Like, fuck these people. They're all fucking corporate assholes, and you do what you got to do to move up in the world.
Dude, that broke me, dude. That broke me. I was all choked up. I was getting my spirit crushed, and I wasn't even thinking like he's got to go in front of a board soon and basically do that, like plead for his shit just like she did. And it's something like not even the lone voice with a heartfelt plea could change one of their fucking minds about whether or not this girl should get it over somebody else. So that was like a big moment for him. And at the time I'm watching that scene and I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't think you're getting your point across. Like, you start getting your point across, but then you go right back to crushing this poor little girl.
He just kept crushing her. It was
like telling her to to put herself in the place you're in, like, not work harder, like, do more, like, wow.
Yeah.
Just fucking like.
It's so good, so believable, so real.
And then when he got into his car afterwards and
just broke down.
The straw that broke the fucking camel's back. Yes, great scene.
We've all been in that situation where it's like you're upset about something, and then your car doesn't. You're like, motherfucker, fuck. There's a whole part of basketball where they play that song and some motherfuckers in. So I can't remember the lyrics to it, but there's a basketball song about that.
Dude, why do you think, like, whenever you're like, oh, do you want to do this before you go to work? I'm like, dude, I don't do anything before I got to go to work, because I know if I go like an hour away to do something, or I'm out doing something in my fucking car, I know I'm going to be, okay, got to go to work, and I'm going to get in my car and flat tire.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in my car, and I left the fucking lights on. I'm going to get in my car, and it's just going to fucking blow up when I fucking turn the ignition, because I got to go to work, and something is going to make me fucking late or not show up or have to use a day at the last minute. Like, oh, you fucking kidding me? Like, it's the most nerve-wracking thing. I have to be home. Otherwise, my car is not going to start for some reason.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
If I'm at home, I can do something about it. If I'm out on the road with all the same resources, I'm
the same way. If I'm out and something bad can happen to someone, it's going to happen to me. So let's play the rest of Big J's message.
That girl don't take no shit, you know. That was the one time he was real, you know. He got real with that part, you know, telling her, because that was him. He's looking at it like, that's me. Like, fuck these people. They're all fucking corporate assholes, and you do what you got to do to move up in the world. And the other scene I loved with Mike is when the German guy, he was still trying to say, oh, I want to see my wife. Mike's like, forget about seeing your wife. This is the end of your life right here. And when he realized that, the look on his face, and he kind of tried to talk his way out, but then he accepted his fate. I mean, I'll tell you, very, very emotional, man. You know,
what a beautiful shot too.
It just brought out a lot of emotion in Big J, and just the acting, the way Jimmy conned them, and
yeah, go back to the Mike and the Varner moment first before we go back to that. So well done. Yeah,
no pun intended.
No, the long shot where they did the yeah.
No pun intended, but that was a beautiful shot, man. The sky, like, he even referenced, you could see so many stars in New Mexico at night, and then he's like, I'm gonna go take a walk out there and look at those stars. I'm gonna make it easy for you. I accept this. I understand. Don't kill my wife. You know, all that stuff. And then he walks out there, that big wide fucking screenshot of the big fucking sky in New Mexico.
Yeah, the Coen brothers shot.
Light, the black background and the flash of the muzzle. It was fucking
so cinematic.
Beautifully done.
Yeah,
it was beautifully done. And that's like, so or when Mike says, I'm going to take care of it, I'll do it, right? Don't worry, I'll take care of this. It's a moment where Mike believes that this guy was telling the truth the whole time. He understands that this guy's got to die now, and unfortunately, Mike's going to make it as easy, not going to make it a scary moment where a bunch of fucking thugs come out and fucking blast him or fucking drag him off and do whatever to him. But he gets a beautiful moment, and they give us that beautiful moment. Like, he makes it, it's not a beautiful moment.
No, I know what you mean. I know
back of the skull,
a television beautiful moment.
Right. It's a way
horrible things can happen in television moments.
Right.
What do you call it?
I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say.
Requiem for a Dream is a horrible movie I never want to watch, but it was beautifully shot and beautifully made.
Right.
You know, there's no. I would never want to watch that fucking movie again. It made me feel like crap, and I never want to see it again. Yeah, except for that's the memory from it. But ultimately, I would say it's a beautiful movie. Like, it's beautifully shot. So something can be as disgusting as possible. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, when he picks that girl up and shoves her into the television. That's beautiful right there. That's fucking beautiful. That's my identity right there.
No, it was well done. It was a death that, you know, Mike thought he deserved better than just to be, you know, hauled back for another few hours, wait around to die
by a bunch of Gus's guys that aren't going to have any humaneness to it.
Right. You know, like at least this way, you know, the body's not going to get dissolved in acid. It'll probably get buried or something.
He got
like,
to say goodbye to his wife. He got to accept,
right, which wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Right, he got to actually accept it. You know, like Big J was saying, he ultimately doesn't go out crying saying, no. He's like, okay, I fucked up and I need to accept that this is my fate right here. He gets it. And he tries to absolve Mike for it, where there's a lot of stars. Show me the flowers, Aunt Carol, and all that sort of stuff. So let's play the end.
Exactly. Look at the flowers.
Yeah, look at the pretty flowers.
Stars.
Look at the stars.
Werner. Look at the pretty stars, Werner. Pop. That's exactly what that was. And the way it was shot, that big wide screen, that photographic moment almost, the silhouettes, the Twilight Night sky, like it was
so well done. So extremely well done. Steph's noting
it's television, like you'll never see a fucking shot like that on what? On what?
No,
what will you see?
The only other show that's on right now that just got picked up for season 3, actually, that I could imagine seeing something like that on because of the connection to the show would be something like Ozark that might do a shot like that.
Right. Ozark absolutely would do a shot like this. Ozark, again, some of the Netflix shows, I have a hard time calling television. They're
miniseries. You're thinking about it more as like a miniseries in the old way,
like miniseries or long movie.
Yeah, it's interesting that Better Call Saul still maintains its greatness in an era where they're still dealing with commercials and dealing with a week-to-week basis, and I'm still as invested. Where a lot of shows, if I binge watch something like The Walking Dead, it wouldn't piss me off as much as I watch it week to week.
Oh God, it would when you get to the introduction of Negan. From that point on,
fair enough.
You're watching 30 hours and 20 of it.
All I'm saying is the added week to week analysis of it adds to the ridiculosity of it. Better Call Saul, with the way people watch television now, the way it's not released all at once and you have to tune in every week, it works within the television's act structure for the most part with the commercial breaks and all that. It still maintains this excellence.
You can see, like when you watch like the Netflix shows, you can see where they've made them to be sold in
television
in
format.
Syndication eventually.
Yep. BoJack's a good example. Easily. BoJack just started on Comedy Central, which is a bastardized version of BoJack. I recommend this isn't be the first time you're exposed to it, but it's set up in a sitcom fashion. So many of those shows are. You're absolutely right about that, Joe. And Steph's note to answer your question about that Game of Thrones call. That was Emily, and I have all of her voicemail clips. I'll definitely get some for next podcast. Emily was awesome, and hopefully she'll call back again during the final season of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So great to see Casey Atheist, the Walking David, who will be joining me this Sunday for the Walking Dead recap episode on Sunday evening. And hopefully we'll get another voicemail from Joe. Steph says, I never want to see that movie again. Oh, yeah, Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, it's beautifully shot movie,
disturbing.
Excellently done.
It's disturbing.
I don't want to ever watch it again.
I owned it. I've watched it a few times. I think I really, really, really love that movie. But no, it's a very difficult movie for a lot of people to watch.
So most of Aronofsky's films are that way.
What's her name in that movie? The mom, I can't remember.
Beverly D'Angelo, is it?
No,
Kim Basinger.
No, in Requiem.
Yeah, who plays it in Requiem?
I forget her name. She always reminds me, or reminds me of the woman, the nurse from Nurse Ratched from.
Oh yes. Is Ozark good? Yes, watch it, Steph's. No, it's pretty good. No, it's good. It just got picked up for season 3. So
Ozark's fantastic, and that girl that with the blonde curly hair is such a good actress.
She's really amazing. Her and Jason Bateman's awesome on it too, but that goes without saying. The mother, his wife is
great too.
She's exceptional. She kills it.
Thank you for not giving us another Mrs. Soprano
or no. You give us more of a Claire from you give us more of a Claire from House of Cards, which is really amazing character type, and I love it. I love it. Fucking love it, but more organized and more human than that. It's a different. I don't want to say it's a one for one
partnership there that's going on, and not like
a competition.
Do this, but I don't like that you're doing it.
Right. It's
okay,
two people.
I'll do this awful thing, but you're so evil.
Yeah, it's two people that legitimately have some connection and partnership. But I don't want to talk too much spoilers on that. But it absolutely is coming back. Season 3 just got announced a couple of days ago. So here we go. Laura Linney, thank you. Laura Linney is amazing. That's their Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad show. That's their and it's made from some writers that worked and directors that worked on.
It's very similar. You'll see a similar story arc, plot line going on there, but it's very well done.
Yeah, and it's very unique to itself. So this is the rest of Big J's message.
Kind of tried to talk his way out, but then he accepted his fate. I mean, I'll tell you, very, very emotional, man. You know, it just brought out a lot of emotion in Big J, and just the acting, the way Jimmy conned them, and that's all I got to say. You know, it was really a fucking awesome way that I'm so forward. I can't wait for next season, man. You know, I hope it is the last because I don't want them to overdo it. I mean, it shouldn't be more, even though I like Better Call Saul better. It shouldn't be longer than that, you know. And I think they're smart enough to know that. Vince Gilligan and the other clown. But great fucking show. You guys are fucking awesome.
I love Big J.
And that's all I wanted to say. All right.
Okay, we got one little bit more of Big J. And to answer your question, Ellen Burstyn played the mom on Requiem. She was also Regan's mom in The Exorcist. I get the comparison to Louise Fletcher, the nurse from Cuckoo's Nest.
I know it's not her, but I always want to say it's her.
Yeah, and the Nurse Ratched, I believe, is Nurse Ratched also in Deep Space Nine as Kai Wynn? Is that Nurse Ratched? Someone can correct me.
No, that's I think not Louise Fletcher. I think that's Ellen Burstyn. Yes. It's the same woman.
It's the same woman. Yeah. Okay. So it is the same woman. Yeah. I know. That voice horrifies me. So here we go. We got one more message. One more message from Big J. Let's get into this shit.
She's unbelievable.
Yo, I love
unfucking believable in Requiem.
She is.
Got one big fucking thing. I made a song for you guys.
You made a song for us?
Feeling Joe 30 Locks, take it off. Big J takes the fall. Yeah, I think about it as good as Jimmy, right? That opening fucking scene, man. I tell you, I fell in love with Chuck again, man.
I gotta rewind that. I gotta loop that.
That song's in my head.
You gotta cut that.
Big J takes the fall. Yeah, I think of 30 Locks, take it off. Big J takes the fall.
Yeah, I gotta get some music behind that.
I think about it as good as Jimmy, right? That opening fucking scene, man, I tell you, I fell in love with Chuck again, man. That song's in my head now. That ABBA. You think a guy like Big J fucking grew up on Black Sabbath would be listening to fucking ABBA? I've been listening to this song, man. I thought, Chuck's got some voice, man. He was a singer, right? All right, that's all I wanted to let you guys know. All right, thank you. You guys when
one more time.
Walking Dead. Game of Thrones comes on.
Oh, nice. You better, Big J.
Get some fucking tequila.
Get some fucking tequila. We'll get drunk and watch the final 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. Nurse Ratched equals Kai Wynn. Awesome. Stephen Michael Davis. Phil and Joe, I wish I could have joined the recap and reviews more, but it was difficult since the show is on Mondays. Take my money, please. $4.99. Let's spin the wheel for Stephen Michael Davis. Thank you so much for that super chat donation. Great to see Jay in the live chat as we're starting to wrap things up pretty soon here. Going to go through a little bit of a lightning round with some comments. And Joe, do you still have a few here, or are you up against it? You still got a few minutes. Okay, so Joe's still got a few minutes here. So let's continue here for a few seconds while
the errand I have to go run.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Actually, should I pause and keep talking? But no, I know. We'll be done pretty soon in a few minutes. Everyone loves ABBA. ABBA was a huge part. I talked about this a second. Getting the ABBA music was a amazing thing that they had to try to do for this episode, and they did, and they got it all together. Spin the wheel, it landed on. Everybody drink. So whether you're drinking water, whether you're drinking soda or coffee, whatever, pick up your drink, and let's everybody drink to Steven for the super chat donation.
That was my last sip of coffee.
Oh shit, man. And I also owe you guys I owe Big Kev a drum solo from earlier as well. You guys are amazing, these super chat donators. It means more than you fucking know. And I do appreciate it. So let's take a couple comments from the comment section and then call this a podcast. So let's see. These are comments will be from comments for The Walking Dead and for Better Call Saul. So this one is from Cattigat. Hey, Phil, missed the live stream, but I'm catching up on the replay. Funny shit. I'm loving the nicknames Enid for Enos for penis. Did I miss something? One thing that bothers me is besides the creepy ploy of tension during the Ezekiel hanging from that shitty rope scene was the comic version of Ken in the mix-up they just wrote. Like, what the fuck? In the comic, Ken is a little bit older and the son of Tammy nor the son of Earl Sutton, who is the blacksmith of Hilltop. Like, why would they mix that shit up? They couldn't have just followed the comics. Did they really need to rush Gregory's death, though? Oh, well. As a comic reader, I'm afraid that they will give us vanilla versions of the Whispers, especially with the Alpha and her stance on rape. I hate pairing Ezekiel and Carol. I just don't love there's no chemistry. Just like Rick and Michonne, there's acting from both of them, of course, just no chemistry. The episode was all right. Wasn't really excited, but it just had to pave the way for the final episodes with Rick. See you soon and cheers. That's from Cattigat. Some of these I'm just going to read. If there's questions, we'll answer them. Otherwise, I just want to make sure you get these comments in. This is from the Yup OK, and this who asks a question or who mentions when I was talking about this episode, the Better Call Saul final episode, Joe. Were you at all conned by Jimmy at the end? When he was in the meeting, were you at all in Kim's shoes? For when Jimmy was going through his big rant at the end, did you for a second believe anything he said?
No, I think, okay, here's the thing. I believe it all.
Isn't that fucked up? Yes.
No. Because it was all true. It was all true. Everything he said, I believe, was from his heart. Was from deep down inside. Was his thoughts. Okay? But Jimmy is, when he comes out in that hallway and he feels the victory starts to take over. And all that shit that came out of his mouth, disgusting to Kim as it was, and to us as the viewer is supposed to be, right? That it was all just part of the con, that it was all to get his license back, and that none of it was how he really felt, was mostly to protect himself.
Yeah.
And also true.
Yeah, the best acting and the best lies are based around some form of truth, and he knows that.
Correct. So both him in the hallway is true to him, and him in the boardroom was true to him as well. Yeah. I really feel that, and I think they captured that very well. And that's the look we get from Kim, is she sees that now. Not that he was conning, and not that he is saying that, but that she ultimately feels that he is extremely duplicitous, and that both of these personalities, so to speak, are absolutely him.
Yeah. No, well said, Joe. Stephen Michael Davis says, it broke my heart when Varner was talking to his wife. They loved each other so much. The last time he talked to her, he yelled at her. It reminded me a little bit of Arya with Nymeria.
Yeah. He white-fanged her.
Yeah, he white-fanged her.
He tried to white-fang her, except it wasn't just forget about me. It was just go home. It was a white-fanging. And we got a mild white-fanging.
We got, this is a Vikings comment. We'll get to that soon. I must be the only one who didn't think this episode was as good as the previous one. I like the Mike and Varner scenes, but episode 9 was better for me. Fair enough. And that's from Dire Low in 39. And I was saying that at the beginning of the cast. Better Call Saul is one of those shows that every episode's good, so you're gonna have some episodes you like better than other ones.
Like I would never make that argument about one episode being better than the next.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
So far for this show, I have enjoyed every episode, and I find difficult reason to rank them above or below each other.
Yeah, I don't think about this show that way. It's weird. I don't. It's strange. A Cool Breeze. I'm gonna get back to your comments live because you were responding directly to me and things I was saying in the podcast. So I'll get back to those. And this is what did Joe think for the most part. Okay, so Carol Funk says, wow, Jimmy McGill sucked me in big time. I was crying along with Kim, then wow, it's all good, man. I was saying this at the beginning of the podcast of the Saul one, Joe. This episode, what made this episode so good for me, and I think there were so many ones, but just talking specifically about this one, is I felt every fucking emotion. I felt like I took television acid and I was going through a trip of having I cried, I laughed, I was scared and tense for a moment, I was emotionally affected, I laughed again, and then I cried, and then it was eventually like, oh shit, at the end.
This show does that well, and I said this before, I think on one of our previous podcasts this season, that it does such a great job of taking you from a comedic moment to a teary moment and back and forth so well. It knows how to pull on your heartstrings and to make you laugh and to make you feel tense and to give you the action and the suspense that you want as well.
And that's a credit.
Elements.
And that's a trait of both shows. And also, if we're comparing it to anything but the Gilligan universe, I would say a show that does that pretty well, and it's a completely different show, and I'm not comparing the two shows, would be 6 Feet Under. It mixes these like horrifying emotional death moments with some funny comedy stuff pretty well. I think Oz does it well too. I think a lot of the HBO shows do it pretty well, where Oz is funny sometimes, and then it's like
they have more of a freedom to mimic life.
Yeah,
and,
which is
in real moments, like just the sheer amount of cock you see in Oz, right? Puts it like for a prison show, there should be that's all men
cock and shit, like and
you're
shit
gonna
too.
See a fair amount of that. Everybody showering together, shitting next to you, like it's there. It's part of.
And it can't be glorified cock. It's just gotta be cock. That's hanging out there.
Scary cock.
Yeah, scary, mean, unkept cock everywhere.
Right. So like just on like whether you want to see it or don't want to see it, I for one think there's a moment in Boardwalk Empire where Bobby Carnivale fucking storms out of a room fucking butt naked with a belt wrapped around his throat.
I love his character on
flapping down at his fucking knees, for Christ's sakes. Yeah. I wanted to curl up in a ball and dodge bullets and shit and that cock. Like the scene doesn't work if you show it from just like, okay, we know he was just fucking a prostitute and we didn't get getting choked out while doing it, but we don't get the full shot of that because you can't show it, and then you don't get the full shot of him running down a hallway fucking dick flapping, shooting at the person trying to kill him that he took a bullet in the chest from. Like you can't show that scene. It doesn't have the impact without the cock. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the impact without the wide scene and naked bodies fucking, and like it doesn't have.
You need the real. What Joe's saying is you need the realism. Jordy's like, change the subject, and Jay says,
sorry about all the cock, everybody, but there's far too much bush and titty and far too little cock in television, in movies. There really is. Like, I'm not scared to say it. There needs to be more cock on screen. like let's make the moments real. Life is real. I spend a lot of fucking time in my house naked, right? Most people do.
Innocent.
Never on TV. Like when you do, there's a bush in the way or a cleverly placed vase or some shit like.
like an Austin Powers.
Right.
Tim says, why can't they? The guy banging the hooker. Yeah, it's HBO. It's not television. It's HBO. Tim says Daryl is pretty much Reek, and I'm pretty sure Carol has his penis she ripped off. But that girl from Oceanside, is she supposed to be? But really, let's feed the saviors. Tim, you crack me up, buddy. They can eat shit right now. Gary about this Better Call Saul episode said, what an amazing episode. Hack World, great to see Hack World. The show.
If they want to get fed, see, this is what I'm talking about. Why is there even a savior colony? If they want to get fed, if they want food, they can go show up at the gates of the communities they fucking attacked and make a pleading fucking, please let me in. I didn't like them. I was their slave fucking moment to get into a new fucking community. Or you know, like the fact that like we were killing them all 5 minutes ago, but now we're gonna live side by side. Okay, but I'm sorry if I was on either side, Negan's side or the other side, and you killed my fucking husband, wife, child during this war, I'm gonna kill you in the middle of the night. I'm gonna kill you in the middle of the day. I'm gonna kill you as soon as I can kill you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, there's no like, okay, let's have peace now. No, my war continues because you took my fucking family members. Like, I don't give a fuck what you people brokered in peace and fucking shit over there. I'm not going to have anything to do with it, at least not in my brain. Sure. Oh, yeah, we're at peace. Next, we'll be slit in the middle of the night. One by fucking one. Like... that shit don't fly. Like, just like if I was in Negan's camp and he was like, your wife is now mine, necks are getting slit one by one. This doesn't happen. Like,
so more Let's add another rock to this fire. Another
Like
block.
Negan steps out to go fight someone in front of the furnace and like just step out and hit him with a big fucking wrench when he's got his back turned. Crush his fucking skull in front of fucking everybody. Yup, I did it. I am fucking Negan now. Who wants a pipe wrench to the skull?
Joe, this is a message from Hack World. The show was boring. Don't care who that kid is that died or the parents.
Right.
Small horde. They could have just killed all the zombies by now. Give me a break. The kid should have died. The glass floor, at least the glass floor, at least. The only interesting thing was at the end where Maggie tells a bigger finger to Rick, saying that there's no free meals on those assholes that tried to kill me, and finally killing Gregory, and that was it in the episode. Hack World, great.
What the fuck is up with that? Like it's all your fault, Maggie, that my son is dead because my son chose to go out with you and you failed to protect him, just like I failed to forbid him from fucking leaving and going out into a zombie-infilled fucking place because he was supposed to be with you for getting protected. No, he's supposed to be with you, Mom, being protected, and you didn't do that. You let him go, but it's Maggie's fault.
Oh my God.
I understand he's old enough to make his own decisions. This is his own fucking fault.
We got Negan in the live chat. Everyone's Negan. Boba Fett says, I didn't expect anything, yet I was still disappointed. Simba says, I think that in episode 9 too will open with Rick looking into the eyes of Maggie, and she will tell him it had to be done, and they will argue for 2 to 3 scenes of film time during a block.
Right? Like, if it had to be done, then doesn't having to kill Negan still need to be done? You both complained about it to him. Both of you fucking said, why can't we kill Negan? Like, come on. Why are you still asking Rick's permission? You just fucking hung Gregory without it. Like, other people you've killed without it. Why? You have had a year to go visit Rick and just murder Negan in his fucking cell. He's a sitting fucking duck. Bring a fucking machine gun with you. Kill everybody who tries to stop you. Why? Like, why not? Like,
And this is a whole very good message. I recommend going to the main video and reading Simba Tree's message because I can't do it justice talking about it. So they'll argue for 2 or 3 scenes of film time during a C block of an episode, and then the savior in the trailer, who I believe his name was Joshua, will threaten Daryl, and him and Rick Grimes threatening Maggie, and then Daryl will tell Andrew Lincoln's Rick Grimes character, which will lead to C block of the episode around the 5-minute mark, telling Maggie who has to make rules if there are no rules. There's no future. It's the Wild Wild West rules, like killing a man who can imprison leads to dysfunction, and Rick will say dysfunctional law will the outcome of Glenn and Abraham, and then they'll finish each other's sentences, and Maggie will punch him for mentioning Glenn in the same sentence as being dysfunctional law, killing Gregory. That's during the 50-minute mark of the episode. Rick apologizes and says that wasn't what I was inferring, and everything goes well as she accepts his apology out of nowhere and flips back to the B plot of the story, which is the bridge and Rosita and Eugene going on the run, which ends the episode, and where they and both are covered in mud, frightened. And the final act is Carol telling Daryl she has something to tell him, and she asks, and then Carol shows her finger with a ring on it, implying that she said yes to King Ezekiel, and Daryl and her both smile. It's just a theory, no spoilers. How accurate? I think there's like 90% accuracy in that.
There's a possible high rate of accuracy.
And sorry for that babble.
It's already more interesting than what they probably do have planned. That's for sure.
Kay Williams says, thank God our show's back, and so is Phil. I'm ready for Joe Dirty Locks too. Hope you get to check this out, Kay Williams. Because I'm singing my ass, Phil. What's really with that dude's voice with tremors? Oh yeah, what's with that dude? Yeah, he's gonna be our new star. Gonna miss Gregory, says Ellie. In his treachery, having a sneaky antagonist around makes the internal drama interesting. Having folks at Hilltops just to follow lockstep behind is dull. Also, Gregory had a point when Negan was in charge. They were forced to feed the sanctuary. Now Negan is locked up, and they're still feeding the saviors. So I'm going to miss Gregory just because that actor was a lot of fun, but the character needed to die a while ago. And Jimmy says, I wish more time was spent actually going through the Smithsonian artifacts and less about a cart and a horse and a glass floor. The Smithsonian cannot be viewed that quickly, says Jimmy.
Right? That like so let's take, for example, that they went into the American Natural History Museum or the American History Museum or whatever history museum that's there, and they took some shit. Like, you don't, like, this is 7 buildings of stuff.
Smithsonian isn't just one museum, isn't it? Like multiple buildings.
Yep, and there's warehouses filled with shit that's probably far more useful than what they took. that is sitting around that area or in the basements and shit. Like, I
Yeah, no, it's bad. Mark Price says it's been a while, but it's great to be back and watch my favorite issues, guys. And Sir LT Guile says it really well. I'm sorry, Phil, but this was a major disappointment of a premiere.
You go to the Smithsonian. You don't even go to a fucking library.
And that's it.
You don't go get a couple of books that teach you shit, but you go to the Smithsonian and take a wagon and a fucking canoe, a couple of hoes, because what? You don't have a blacksmith. You can't go get a book and have the blacksmith make a couple of fucking hoes, a couple of fucking whatever the fuck. Oh my god.
Okay, Joe.
Like,
let me cheer you up a little.
Plows. I mean, come on.
Let me cheer. Let me cheer you up a little bit here. So here's a message from the other Jay.
I agree with Joe on what he said about Jimmy and his little thing in there. I think that that part where he talked about how his brother dealt with people and how, like, he dealt with people he liked and dealt with people he didn't like and stuff like that, I felt that was 100% true. I just thought it was a little bit bullshit when he said, I want to try to live up to what my brother was as a lawyer. So, but, like, all the stuff he said that, like, before that was true, I thought. And also, so do you still hate, does Joe still hate Walking Dead? And do you think Maggie and Rick are going to die in, like, the same episode?
So...
Yeah, all right, that's it.
So, Joe, before you answer, let's see. Let's get...
What did Joe think? What did Joe think? What did Joe think? Was it good or did it really fucking stink? What did Joe think? What did Joe think? What did Joe think? Was it alright or did it drive him to drink?
So, Joe, do you still hate The Walking Dead?
I have never hated The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. And that's where all this anger comes from.
Exactly. Do you think Rick and Maggie are going to die in the same episode?
No. I think they... No. Are they're both leaving?
Yeah, they're both leaving. Maybe. It could be in the same attack. Maybe they could kill each other like Apollo and Rocky, and they're beating each other up. Ah! Roar!
I don't want to make it. I don't know.
We're not Miss Cleo. We're not Miss Cleos. We're not good at that.
Here's the thing. What is the most obvious, stupid way to have it done? They will write that shit. No. Not the most obvious, stupid way. What is the most TV trope way you could think of for them to die or die together, and then decide which of the three scenarios is more tropey, and there you go.
I think Rick will be falling and Maggie goes to save him to prove that they're really friends, and then they both die together falling into a... No. I think... I'm not sure if they're going to die.
Jamie Lannister will throw Maggie out a tower window.
I think that might happen. Suddenly Daenerys will show up with her dragon. No, and shoot everybody. So Joe is not angry. Joe is disappointed in The Walking Dead since start. I think that's well said. And
I'd like to see. Okay, you know what I want to see?
You can't hate what you don't love.
This is how I want Rick to die. I want Judith to get eaten by a fucking walker in front of him, and for that to have just been it.
I'm done. I can't handle it anymore.
And then he just walks into the crowd of walkers and lets
Joe, like, I have the spoiler alert for Sons of Anarchy. I'm gonna have the Jack's death, and he's gonna do it like this with his arms out.
Yep, and just let them come. They're gonna give him Carol's death, basically, from what should have been Carol's death from the book.
So we actually do have one more voicemail from Pat O. It's a quick one.
You can get rid of another annoying child actress.
It's a quick It's a quick voicemail. Let's hear what Pato says here.
Hey, are we still talking about cocks? Because if we aren't talking about cocks, I can't leave a message. All right, bye-bye.
There's always time to talk about cocks.
Wait. I was going to start going into that Howard Stern bit from Private Parts now. Big cock coming out of your mouth always sounds dirty, Joe.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so let's jump in the chat. One more zip through the chat, and then we'll call this a podcast. But what did Joe really think? If they're in D.C., why not live in the Smithsonian or live in the White House? Someone said, why not move locations to living in the Smithsonian or living in the White House?
Well, it makes more sense to not live in a city. There's a lot to scavenge, but eventually the scavenging is going to be done. There's a lot of nooks and crannies and bullshit that walkers could still be in and surprise you, or get out from and surprise you, and all that shit. So I would probably want to still stay away from any of the big cities. Plus, you don't know what kind of people are still living there that are also stealthily hidden in the city in spots, what groups, like we saw with the cops and like we saw with I believe the nursing home gang, right, or in earlier seasons. So there could be pockets of shit like that. Also, I agree with the whole Herschel thing, and I agree with this whole, you need to start growing food. You need to stop scavenging and start producing. If you don't produce, like, the scavenging will end. The scavenging will end.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was getting back to someone on a voicemail here. So let's go. You can't hate something you don't love. I can relate to Joe 100%. Excuse me. The reason why I'm so harsh on it is because I love this show and I want it to be better. I think The Walking Dead was a victim of its own success. I think there was some element of that it became not about telling effective stories, or at least being entertaining. It became, how can we keep this cash cow going for as long as possible? I do think that we're to the point now where AMC has, we've talked about this a lot, has The Walking Dead. They stretched out Talking Dead to an hour instead of a half an hour now, so it's ultimately 2.5 hours, because sometimes The Walking Dead goes over the hour timeline. So, but about an hour and a half to 2 hours, 2 hours to 2.5 hours of a commercial for The Walking Dead. And if you watch The Walking Dead, not all the commercials have zombie tie-ins too. So you'll be dealing with not an exact one for one, but a Buick commercial. And then you have Walking Dead stuff. And I like those Abraham commercials, whatever they were. I don't even know what they were for. I don't know, for the Walking Dead app. But they were the best part of the episode, were those Abraham commercials. I paused. Him and Eugene again was great. I mean, he cuts Eugene. The only way I can deal with Eugene is when Abraham's there. But it's really cool. He was wearing the big fake facial hair and stuff. I thought that was hilarious. But it's still a 2.5 hour essentially commercial for The Walking Dead, and then they re-show it after, where instead of having another show lead into the viewership. I mean, I've joked about this before. Better Call Saul should be on Sundays after The Walking Dead. It should be on right after The Walking Dead. They're two best shows on AMC, or leading in that audience, because they want the best audience they possibly could get for their best critically acclaimed show. But whatever.
Instead, they want to try to sell more commercials on Monday instead.
Right, and make make it just Walking Dead night. And and I don't know this is going to happen, but I'm convinced this is going to happen. Eventually, once Rick is gone off The Walking Dead, they're accepting that he wanted to go. Instead of ending the show, they're like, we can't end the show. What we should do now is kill Rick off because he wants to leave. That's cool. We were kind of thinking about that anyway, because we need to do something to get ratings boost. And then what we can do is we can take this new audience, and I'm not watching Fear, but I know they kind of, spoiler alert for Fear, I know people that do watch it and keep me up to date, like DJ Better and Stephanie. They basically killed off the whole original cast essentially, except for maybe 1 or 2 characters, and have a whole new cast essentially on the show now. So what we can do is bring both casts together. And now that we brought over Morgan, our end game is to have it be one big show. And I think that's what it's eventually going to be. I'd be surprised if Fear
I think they'll end up doing that too, merging the two. To get that 20-year.
Right. And they'll pub it as this huge thing. For the first time since Joni Loves Chachi didn't work, and then they brought them both back to the Happy Days. It's the return of Fear the Walking Dead to The Walking Dead. Morgan comes back with friends. And then we get into all of
Spinoff
that.
returns home. Like Cleveland did it too. Went back to
Family Guy. Yeah, it's going to be something like that where I think both shows are going to combine, led by a Negan-led rule, and it's all going to be one big block of another 20 more years of destitution and crap. I think The Walking Dead is a victim of its own success, so I absolutely agree with that, Cattigat. Hey, we got Bubba in the live chat. We got Broke who's back. Rick steps in front of Negan as Maggie shoots at him. That would be Joe, that you were asking about the worst possible endings. I think we might have it. Mr. Sean says Rick steps in front of Negan as Maggie tries to shoot him.
That's a definite. Or Daryl.
Or Daryl, yeah.
I like. That's gonna happen.
And I think on that note, I know we're running.
You might have the winner there. Holy, that's the TV trope winner. That's the winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out this week's What Did Joe Think? We'll definitely try to get more of these on episodes. No, we need to get the fast version.
We know from previous, right? Okay, here's the thing. We know from previous podcasts and subsequent episodes from previous podcasts, right? I know that sounds a little weird, but it makes sense.
No, I followed you.
That the AMC is watching us.
They do. They watch us. They watch us. They know what we think.
They have caught the end of this podcast, right?
Of course.
And they have heard that. And they have heard the beginning of this podcast where we talked about.
Do we need to leave another voicemail? Do we need to leave another voicemail?
Well, Better Call Saul changed their episode around because of it didn't work, right? And we just called them out on their weak ass pussy shit. You know that shit's already written.
What I hope happened is I hope Vince or Peter, when they saw that The Walking Dead had more than an hour, because The Walking Dead episode and the Better Call Saul episode were the exact. I'm not sure to a T, but I'm pretty sure they were almost the exact same running time. So I don't know if Better Call Saul was like, hey, they're getting more time. Can we get some more time? Come on, AMC, give us some more. Give us some more time, because they were talking about that on the Insiders podcast. You got to read through some. It's like when you watch Penn and Teller's Fool Us. You have to read through the language that they're talking sometimes. They said, yeah, figuring out episode length with AMC is a little precarious, is what they said. They said something to that effect, where it gets me to believe that AMC it gives maybe some shows a little bit more leeway than them, and they stepped up and like, can you give us a little bit more time in our finale, since every week of The Walking Dead is like, 3 or 4 minutes over, 10 minutes over.
10 minutes. But that's all due to that is not. That is all AMC. That's not The Walking Dead.
No, that's all AMC.
Advertisement. Yeah. You are getting pumped with extra advertisements and extra commercial.
It's Spaceballs.
The Walking Dead episode.
It's Spaceballs 2. This time for the merchandising. I think it will all end with the Walkers just dropping dead, playing a giant game of what was that game, like freeze tag? That'd be a great end to the series. Just someone comes up and goes, "Tag, you're it." They all just, Negan goes, "Tag, you're it, motherfuckers. With my bat, I got Lucille back." And tags, and they all fall down in the middle of the biggest herd attack. They just all fall down like the droids at the end of Phantom Menace. They all fall apart. Bam. I love it. And Bernie says, Negan owns a local coffee shop here. I go in and I talk shit about his character. Oh, I love you guys in the live motherfucking chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for joining us this week for 3 different podcasts. Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit more content, back to our normal schedule, which we like to do about 3 times a week. And try to keep that up for as long as I can keep that up until I get too old and I can't keep it up anymore. But no, we'll try to keep that up.
Viagra time.
Then it will be time for a Viagra or an implant for my podcast. And Mr. Bacon will be standing straight again. But I will be back this Sunday with The Walking David to talk about this next episode of The Walking David. Joe, unfortunately for him, won't be with us.
Have to work again, 3rd Sunday in a row.
But he will be with us the following Sunday to talk about it. Yes. And this week, I might figure something out. And Joe also and I this month will be doing our Daredevil Day one day when we watch the entire series of Daredevil in one afternoon. And before we end, Joe and I
love Lethal Weapon.
You like it with Stifler now too?
I am a Stifler fan. I have been since.
You're feeling it with Stifler now too.
Mm-hmm. Not Walking Tall, since Rundown.
Yep.
Okay, I really enjoyed that movie. I don't feel it's changed as a show
No.
It's got a little different feel, right, as far as like the two Riggs and him. Okay. But I liked the tongue-in-cheek joke of I don't know how the motherfucker ran with those boots. I've been saying that for 2 seasons.
I like that. That was pretty fun.
Like I was like, how the fuck is he chasing somebody with those boots?
Now, I did not like the first 2 episodes. Last night's episode felt more like the show to me. I almost wish Riggs could have been around, and this character could have been added as a rival at the station to him and tweaked out a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy the character, but I do miss the Riggs energy there because I think he had better chemistry with Damon Wayans, and some of the jokes seem forced. And also, Damon Wayans has announced that he's leaving the show, and they don't know if they're going to continue without him or not. What was that? That's it. Yeah, they can't. Damon Wayans is the show.
It's not Lethal Weapon anymore. Both Riggs and Murtaugh are gone.
Yeah, you need at least one of them. And this is nothing compared to what we're talking about with Better Call Saul. This is just a fun popcorn kind of show that Joe and I both enjoy that had some fun fireworks in the off season with the main actor.
I'm a fan of the franchise, like we were talking about with the Mad Max shit, or
I
was talking about that with Jimmy Boy on something else, but on PlayStation. Yeah, it's there's a lot of bad franchises out there. Mad Max, like the first movie's horrible, right? But people love it. I love it, right? Like Blade Runner. A lot of people love that fucking movie. I can't sit through 3 minutes of that stinker without being this movie fucking
interesting
balls. Like so there's people's guilty pleasures. There's a lot of B movies out there that have become Friday the 13th franchise, 15 movies or some shit. What? How many?
Yep.
But ultimately, like, they're all really bad.
Everyone has their kind of junk food that they like. I talk about this a lot. Everyone has their junk food. I accept that Beverly Hills 90210 is trash. I watch it.
Oh yeah. It's so hard to watch.
It's trash. Oh, and it aged horribly. It aged so bad. As bad as it was before, it aged pathetically.
So much worse.
Yeah, it aged pathetically bad. But I still watch it sometimes. It's still like a couple times a year I'll watch 1 or 2 episodes just for...
I watched an episode the other day with Katie. Well, okay, I watched 10 minutes and I was like, oh my fucking God.
It actually is a credit to shows like Buffy and early Charmed that they aged a lot better if you try to rewatch them now. I think especially Buffy. Buffy holds up really well. And I think the first few seasons of Charmed hold up pretty well too from like those era television shows. Star Trek, I think that's a credit to how
Freaks and Geeks holds up.
Freaks and Geeks is probably better now for a lot of people. But I'm saying like these longer like sci-fi or stuff that uses effects or is deeper dramas or whatever. The Star Trek shows kind of hold up, which is cool, but some shows definitely don't.
And I'll say this too. I say it about my Babylon 5. The effects and stuff all still hold up, but there is a lot of the writing and acting that my 4th or 5th watch through now 20 years later, I'm like, this is
part of it, Joe. Is
watch a lot of episodes.
Part of it is us being exposed to
season either, but
part of us is being exposed to this different era of television where, like, I keep saying checks and balances is more of a thing where like you watch a show like Quantum Leap, for example, which is still one of my favorite shows, but it doesn't hold up quite as well as I want it to hold up, or not every episode does. Things don't always match up episode to episode. They ignore things that happen in previous episodes. I think Quantum Leap,
so many. It's 23 episodes
and Quantum Leap did that better than other shows did at the time.
Yeah.
For the time, it felt like the universe was all connected and every episode remembered every episode. But if you watch it back now, it's not as tight as you think it should be compared to what television shows are like now, even the shitty ones. Even the shitty ones have to be parts of some bigger universe and have
episode recall,
right, and have some sort of episodic, serialized quality to the episodicness. It's unless you're a Dick Wolf show, and even those Dick Wolf shows became somewhat serialized too when you started to know more about the characters on SVU and like know their family life a little bit more. Like the Law and Orders used to be very, I don't care about what's going on in the Law and Orders, but
now
then
all of a sudden Lenny's got a daughter,
right, and you care about all that, and you're supposed to care about all that shit. And you don't care about all that shit because that's not the kind of show it's supposed to be. But now every show has to have that because we have to have a deeper connection. And I mean, some shows just shouldn't have that. Some shows should just be as hollow as their existence. And it's okay to like trash. I think what's worse than a good show being bad is bad shows trying to pretend to be good. Becoming
bad.
Yeah, just being even worse. Just Just own your shittiness. Like
Show,
Riverdale. Like Riverdale owns. Broke mentioned Riverdale. Riverdale owns its shittiness more than any of those other.
Awful. I watched. Kids don't talk like this.
Anyways, it compared to some of those
all
other
quoting Yeats and Gates and fucking Shakespeare in their day. Like, what kid do you know throws out more than to be or not to be, or fucking or like one fucking line?
Nicole.
Like, right? No, even her. It's not. Even the biggest fucking drama geek you've ever fucking met doesn't, or English geek you've ever fucking met. Each one of these kids is fucking doctorate read as a sophomore.
Oh,
in
they're
fucking high school. And they have the memory recall.
They're also
where they're quoting and trying to live by the words they've like.
They're all great fighters too, by the way. They're all.
Oh my God,
they're all
it is
amazing.
Stupid.
Oh, it's so stupid. It's so trash. But it owns its trash. Gossip Girl the same way. It's trash. The Gossip Girl is another example. Gossip Girl owns that it's a trashy show and like feeds into it, like leans into the trash and goes, I am fucking red. Broke needed that rant on Riverdale. Oh, Joe, I literally cannot argue with a second of what you just said there. It's ridiculous trash, but I enjoy watching it because it owns what it is. Compared to some of those other CW shows like Arrow or The Flash, I'm looking at you, which take itself a little bit more serious and try to play themselves off as a action superhero stuff where they can't help themselves, but this teen drama shit kicks in. Riverdale says, fuck all. We're Riverdale. We're back in our teen drama pants, and we're going to make this as stupid and ridiculous and over the top and unbelievable as we possibly can make it. And that's what they do, Joe. They make it the most ridiculous thing on television, and I still enjoy watching it. It's fucking ridiculous. Do we have time for one more message from Jay? Let's see. Do I have it? It hasn't shown up yet, Jay. Let me see. Let me refresh the screen and see if it does, and then I gotta let Joe go. I know I have to let Joe go. One more message. Here we go.
Yeah, Power Rangers doesn't hold up like the show or whatever, but I think the original movie was cool, and also
neither does He-Man, man. You reach a certain age and you can't watch the Smurfs anymore either. Let me tell you, man. The Power Rangers, no shit, that doesn't hold up. It never held up. Jay, that was your 9-year-old fantasy, man. Your 5-year-old fantasy. You gotta let the Power Rangers go.
Oh my God!
I had to let He-Man go. I had to let G.I. Joe go, and those things did not hold up on rewatch. Thundercats, as much as I loved it then, nope.
Some stuff does hold up though. Real Ghostbusters, some episode does hold up. Animaniacs.
Animaniacs is a Steven Spielberg thing.
Batman the animated series holds up. Batman Beyond holds up.
Again, these are shows that are written for the adult as much as the child.
Yeah.
Power Rangers was never written to be for an adult.
No.
He-Man was never written to be for an adult.
No, that was written to sell toys.
Right. Those were written for far different reasons and purposes. And that being said, that's the biggest reason why they will never.
We're also a generation past where Power Rangers were our thing. So we don't have it.
That's
we don't
why
have.
I'm saying it. I was already like.
Yeah, we don't have any. We're not of the age. We're more Ninja Turtle, G.I. Joe, Transformer era people than the Power Rangers. I mean, I follow the Ninja Turtles, but Ninja Turtles are a great example. I was in the prime when the Ninja Turtles popped, so I follow the Ninja Turtles through every medium that they have. I don't care if it's on the Nickelodeon series or the 2003 series or the movies. I follow the Ninja Turtles in every single version of them, every single medium that they pop up. The new comic that's out right now is one of the best versions of the Ninja Turtles.
I've got the entire run of the original Ninja Turtles.
The original one's great too, but the DW run, right? Is it DW right now? Whatever is really good stuff too. It brings the whole universe. 2003 series is serious but very awesome, and I consider and even though I'm a fan of the original one, I considered the Nickelodeon series a few years ago, the CG series, to be the best of all the Ninja Turtle versions. That is the top. When Jason Biggs was there, when the pie fucker was Leonardo, not when Seth Green showed up. Even though I like Seth Green way more than Jason Biggs, he was not a good Leonardo. compared to the first half of that series. But that series did some crazy shit with the Ninja Turtles that hasn't really been done and combined a lot of things. And there was also a great movie called Turtles Forever. But anyways, my point on all of that was that we have our own versions of those things that we can say connect to. Joe mentioned He-Man. It's all, I mean, some of it's all trash, you know, whatever. Ninja Turtles.
We all have our trash that we love.
We all have our trash I love. Ninja Turtles isn't trash though, Joe. Shut up.
I don't even care if it holds up, because in the last episode, like,
the original series, the original 80s series, I'd say the original first couple of seasons aren't trash, but it eventually got into trash towards the end of that. That show became trash, but when it first started out, the narrative was tight enough for it to not be trash. 2003 series is not trash. It's a good representation of the comic book, especially the first few seasons of it. When it got into the space stuff, then it became trash. But the original first seasons of the 2003 series was not trash. The Nickelodeon series was never trash. Sorry.
Makes me not want to watch the rest of the series. The whole series is about him trying to get back home to his family. And then
wait, did I just have a fanboy attack? I totally feel like I got overwhelmed by fanboyism.
In the last episode, it's like he never goes home. He just spends all the rest of his history just going through quantum leaps trying to help different people, and he never ever gets that. Like, I thought that was the dumbest ending ever. It like made me regret that I watched the show for all those years. Kind of reminded me in the Wonder Years when Winnie and Kevin, you found out, grew up later and married different people and didn't get together.
I'm ready to explode out because I know the reason for both those things, Jay. In both examples, they were because of seasons being canceled on them. Because they knew that they didn't know when filming the final episodes in both examples that they were going to be the final episode. So they had to add that cheesy voiceover to the end of that Wonder Years episode and be like, the dad died and Winnie and Kevin don't end up together and blah, 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 blah. Instead of doing another couple of seasons, they wanted to go Kevin all the way through high school. They had this whole like hippie storyline where Kevin became a pothead and started screwing off a little bit, and the network didn't want to do it. And with Quantum Leap, they totally did not know that was the end episode. They added that shit at the end to be like, and they fucked them all. They're all so pissed about that. They actually had a conclusion to Quantum Leap, and they talk about it sometimes or make hints at it. Both Stockwell and Bakula talk about it, and both those shows got fucked by networks canceling them. So, two good examples and very true. Living my Rhapsody, I'm so sorry that you came in and we have to go, but thank you so much for popping on in, and thank you to everybody that was here today for this live stream, for this What Did Joe Think? Joe, as always, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll try to get with you next week to do a quicker one of these for your thoughts on The Walking Dead episode 2, because I know everyone likes to hear what you think about every episode of The Walking Dead. I'm under no it's really about what Joe thinks when it really comes down to it. And I don't have to play the song.
I just want to hear the hate and the venom.
Yeah. And
everybody likes
the truth.
The
truth. This was What Did Joe Think? And everyone, thank you so much. Do appreciate that if you haven't already. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with a friend. If you're listening to the podcast, give us some reviews. We really could use them on iTunes or on other audio means. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you share it that way too. And over here on the YouTube channel, as I mentioned, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. There's lots of different ways you can help us out. You can start all your Amazon shopping with that link, and it helps us a little bit. You can help us out on Patreon. You can help us out just with some affinity links, the Affinity Wars. You can help us out with some affiliate links in the description box below and get some free Audible and all that stuff too if you want to help the channel out. And if you're listening to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can watch this silliness live. And always call in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 781-990-8509. I'm not even joking about that. I mean 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're drunk somewhere in a bathroom getting ready to expel your dinner. Make sure you call in either before or after and leave us a drunk, silly message. We really encourage the voicemails and really encourage your participation in the show one way or another, whether it's in the live motherfucking chat, calling in, emailing me, saying hi. And make sure you do that. We'll get the call-in line back going pretty soon once I get set in the new studio, so you guys can call in live as well. You can also, if you're out of the country and you want to leave a video message on Skype for me, which I'd play the audio, you can do that at I Got Issues Man on Skype. And you can also follow Joe on Twitter at Dirty Locks, and check out Dirty Issues to hear Joe and watch Joe video game stream sometimes. And we'll be back very soon. Good night. Good night! Motherfucker. Oh, wait. I forgot. I owe a drum solo. So I'm sorry if this is going to be loud. Let me end the things out with not a drum solo, just playing the drums. This might be too loud or too soft. But here I go. Here I go. Let's play. Oh, no. What am I doing? Oh, shit. Thanks, Big Kev, for the super chat donation.